goes straight live. I'll send a link to you. You can share with everybody. So we will not start the formal session, but we've not agreed on why we came. I've agreed why I came, why you came. So we're going to run with our legs and prove to the whole world that the way we were given 24 hours in Jos, that's exactly the way we're given 24 hours in Los Angeles. That's why we're given 24 hours in Japan. So I came, why you came. So we're going to run with our legs and prove to you. That's what the whole world is doing. We just barely speak about what the whole world is doing. So you are not. You are a parliamentarian based. You are not a local lawmaker. You are a lawmaker based and sent to the world. You are a Nigerian by location, not by profession. You cannot sit here now and say the only salary you'll be earning next month will be the one paid to you in Western Matter. You will generate additional income. In another economy, in the dollar economy, you must earn. In the euro economy, you must earn. In the rupee economy, you must earn. Do you know why? He wrote a book, and the book confronts a problem, and that problem is not local. So, is it not local? So why is it that you are not making a Spanish edition available to them in English? Or in Ecuador? Why have you not made multiple translations? Why? Because he has not met me. Tonight, before he sleeps, he sent me the PDF, and I sent him back the translation in Spanish. And then he puts it up there for Spanish people to understand. If you write a commentary on football, as Apple, you know we are playing football now. You can do your commentary and say you want Nigeria to win, it's how Nigeria is going to win, and talk about it. And everybody talking about it will want to know your views about it. Because the whole of tennis, nobody, that's what we did. For the past 5 years, the whole thing about tennis has been done on air. So this is what I'm saying, the pace is too fast. And it has to be defined. They say, oh, who owns the internet? They say, it's owned by the Gates. No, it's owned by Mazzola. Oh, no. Who owns the internet? I ask myself, who owns the internet? The more I ask them, after they say, oh, we don't know who owns the internet. I said, because it does not have a owner. It was divinely given to this generation. The internet does not have anyone. You have people that come on the internet and buy, like the App Store. But the owner of the internet is the one. And that's why you can come up with a book on Arabic. You don't speak, sir, do you speak Arabic? Okay. But I can make you speak Arabic fluently. Who can guess how many languages my daughter spoke before she left elementary school? Who can guess? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because you have capacity to speak up to 16 different languages. 16 different languages.
My line is now.
No. It's even a big problem. Not by. How did you learn the first language? You.
With the written.
Huh?
The written.
Really? Was your blood?
Oh, I wonder. You find him speaking it.
Huh?
You wake up and that's what you see.
Listen.
Your parents.
How did you learn the first language?
You
heard?
Yes.
I said, and then you repeated. You heard? And then you repeated. You heard? And you repeated. That's all you did. Then when you went to school to teach you a language, what did they do? They gave you a bilingual dictionary like 3 sides. So that your brain can start boom, 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 and then you run. They gave you a bilingual dictionary. They gave your son or your grandson, if you bring it to me, and dedication like Christian. You know we are family. But please, anytime you have a new member, let me know. I was also suggesting it. You were suggesting it. Seriously, we will play cartoon character of the child, Bart Simpson in French. In the afternoon, we play Bart Simpson in what? In Spanish. And then in Portuguese. This is a little boy that is still in Naples. And he likes cartoons. That's how you are giving them, you know. When you're giving your little children apple, they like it. Even when we have choice. One that is well, we'll be pretending that it's not well, so that they can take apple. You know what? Apple is very sweet. It's given to them in a way that is easily assimilatable. And that's what we do to your son or your grandson. 15 different languages. It won't mix. It's we add up of the condition to use less than 1% of our brain. So we make that child use the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. So that by the time he gets to school, the teacher is not providing guidance. The teacher is not teaching anything. So you get what I'm saying? Please let me know about time. So this is essentially what we are here for.
Good to see.
This is why we are changing everything. So seriously, if you can get what I'll give you the link to this, and then you'll be able to have it. And even if they cannot join it live, they can join it tomorrow. Or they can join it day after tomorrow. They can join it anytime to be able to see what did we find out about the true role of the new intelligence. Because if you don't have this new intelligence, do you know what you are? Do you know what you are? You have become like me. When I was born, I had 2 hands. Yes, you see me, I have 2 hands, right? Yes. If you give me a pen now, what would I do? I will stretch my right hand and I will use it to write. And I lie to myself to say I'm right-handed. But is there anything wrong with this hand? No. Nothing wrong with it. But if I have an accident with this now, I'll be forced to use this hand. That's what happens. So I'm using only 50% of my hand, right? But when it comes to your brain, we are using less than 1% of our brain. And 99% is what it is all simple. Because the educational system in Rome was designed by the Victorians based on what they knew then. When they wrote it then, they didn't know that the world was not behind. And how far do we live? All the world was how far is there from it? Physically. You are here. You are here. Okay. Have you spoken to anybody to say they should take it to KP?
You people are bringing it to tomorrow.
No, tomorrow we are going to Parliament.
It's part of the
Okay. I want you to go to KP. It's the epicenter of the entire universe. You know, when it was the British Empire, it was moved from Kensington Palace. Buckingham Palace is a small one. It's a very, very new building. I know you say, oh, it's over 200 years ago. Yes. Queen Victoria, that moved to Buckingham Palace, was born inside here. He literally walking this up from where you are. Why am I asking you to go and see why the Victorians did what they did? And therefore, we should remove the ones that the Victorians did and modernize it. We made about 17 cents. Because you got this far. No, seriously, ladies and gentlemen, I must not fail to make this clear to everybody. Very clear so that everybody knows it in their brain. That the capacity of your children and of your staff must not be wasted. Don't allow the certification to define what they can do. Because you already know that there are some people that get direct geography and they're working for you now. And anything wrong with your car, they go and fix it. Meanwhile, the one that get the direct can fix it. I mean, I've seen what.
Yes.
So how did they know how to fix it? That is the what we call dormant intelligence. It's there, but it's dormant. Not like it's there. It's dormant. So we have to activate it for all our staff to make sure that their capacity exceeds everything that is going on. They will struggle with you. Say, no, in my family, we are very bad with French. You know, I hate French. Oh, I hate maths. They will tell you that. Please explain to them what I need to do. You don't hate it. It's the connection that you didn't have with it that made you say you don't touch it. So please, that is the number one take home message. If you are making a note of this, Because you cannot use the same tools and technology as your grandfather used. No, you cannot. You cannot be Victorian education. Victorian education, it was better you were born in the era of Victoria than born in this era. Because what they are not telling you that you can't do is because they can't do it. That's why there's so much telling you can't do. So now we're going back again to that search I wanted us to do on Google. Like I told you, Google is very old. Don't use it again. If you're a member of my staff and I see you using Google, I will sack you. If you are my student, I've already failed you. Because from the first day when you came to the class, I told you, thou shalt not use Google. And I gave you what else to use in the place. And I demonstrated why you need to use it. Okay, now look at this search we want to do now. See, this is Google mode. If we ignore it and hit enter, if you hit enter, see what comes out. It gives me a link. It just gives me a list of links, right? Now, if I switch the mode to AI mode, look at what happens. See what happens now. It gives me the photos, it gives me the option, it gives me the link. That's why you're preaching. When you finish doing that preaching, if 15 people don't call me, then you didn't do it well. 15 people that never come to say, sir, you preached before. Why are you just doing this? And I say, I was in London. And I participated you had a phone. I participated in the training. And that's why I remember I've been working with only one leg spiritual. And not being two legs, that's what I want. Because you'll be able to identify people in the other, you have what is called word of knowledge. You call people out in the other. It's not because you now have a new power, it's just that you have a new tool. And that's why I'm saying, can you see why I tell my students? Look, he's giving me 5 sides, he's giving me the entire narrative, he's told me everything about it, and that's how to do. Why? He is the student I was telling you about. Click on what it says. Click on what it says here. And this is the click of a button. Okay, Clifford wants to join. Eh?
Yes.
Yeah, Clifford Attile?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Admit him. So anybody you have now, she can share that link. So they are already in the past. So look at what happened here. This is the success of Oduton. I told you before. The mother finished from ABU. I told you before. He is now a billionaire. A billionaire. From a teenage university project on a very he has $1 billion. Why do I need oil well? Why do I need oil well? I don't want to take my word for it. Can you write this down? When you leave there, please go and find out whether these things are true or I'm just trying to entertain you. Using voice AI, he has $1 billion. So how many teenagers do you have that are unemployed? If you make 5 of them billionaires, you know what will happen? They'll campaign for you to go to Asolo. Because Trump is the biggest gift to the world. You know why? He said all the industries will return to America. They return to America. When they come to America, they don't have trained staff to do the job. So they are now looking for who? Staff anywhere in the world to outsource the job to so that they don't lag behind the AI because China is wasting ahead. So if we have young men that can teach LLM, right? The basic skills you can teach them at home. Just using that YouTube channel. They will know it before they know it to their professional university. And they will do this, they will do proper work now and they will be billionaires. Why do you need to steal when you are a billionaire? I never knew the journey was going to end this way. I was honest with you. I taught because I know that's my calling. And I encourage and empower because I know that's why I'm still alive today. Even though I should have died when I was 2 years old. So when you now use your pain as my second education, and this is why I punish you. People come into my class on a very student who is from here and you use pain, I finish you. You know why? On your phone, there's something called voice notes. Have you ever seen the voice notes on your phone? If you press it, it records everything the person is saying.
Yes.
And when you get home, you transcribe it using PowerPoint. This is PowerPoint. So when you're in the class, you sit down and listen 100%. Because everything I'm telling you now is going to be available to you as part of class. And if you are learning, I'll give it to you in 6 different languages. That's if I'm alone. But if you make good tea for me, I'll give it to you in 99 different languages. And if you have a grandmother at home, I didn't go to school at all. She's never been to school at all. She has not carried back around school. And all she speaks is Hausa. Sir, you know what can happen? We can make that woman bilingual or multilingual. Because the tools we are using are AI based. We're using agents. So you can see here, you say he called from it, then he was 19 million, and everybody was excited about it. So June last year, he hit Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley will come to Plateau. Do you know why? If I put a drop of money here and go downstairs, what will happen? What will come back? What will happen to the money? Instant, nice. Yeah. You send a text message from that. You send a WhatsApp message from that. So in the by the time there's a long queue. And that's what happened with talent, tech talent. The current CEO of Google, $1 trillion company, cannot speak English like any of you. Have you seen it? He's an Indian boy that grew up in a poor. I need to get him now. Play your video. This video when you have the opportunity of doing the real timing, you will hear the video. You see when he's speaking, he's shaking there. So his English is very low. But he has the talent in India. That's why he went all the way to India to go and smash it. So there are many people in jobs that the world is looking for. They are just waiting for the endless manifestation of gifts that are working. And you are the conduit because you are the leader. You're not the parliamentarian, you are the leader. You are their governor. In your constituency, you are the highest person. You are the one that's why they come to you. But you think they give to you for money because that's what you give to them. But I'm saying, silver and gold have I not. But such as I have, I give you. And this one I'm giving you is bigger than the one silver and gold. Because remember, everybody is on True Social, right? Is everybody on True Social? You are going to log in more, there's going to be a big fight. So, can you see Silicon Valley is asking for a son whose mother finished from ABU? So they didn't say you should do 12. What that English thing they said. They'll do test of English and the foreign language. Test of foreign language. You don't need to argue that. Do you know why? You speak a language called Python. That's used for machine learning. And if you speak it, everybody understands. You don't need an interpreter. So please, I just need everybody to be aware of this. So here it said I beta tested. Beta testing means before you put it to the go what to see, I look at it. Not to check it. And you know that's what supervisors do, check the work and give you access. How many of you here teach or want sport? Who used to teach? Yeah, which level, sir? Okay, now in which level? University. Listen to this. At university, at the end of the year, they will select their project, and then you have to read it. And sometimes there are 16 different projects, and you have to read it, and then you have to read it, you have to read it, you have to read it. You go for preservation.
I saw this one who shows a percentage that is agreeable.
That's similar. I look at similarity. You know what I do? This is why I'm saying don't take the presidency. You know what I do? I take a PhD thesis, 120 pages. I put it through on what is called Kid AI. It marks the PhD thesis in 7 seconds. Annotates it with my feedback. So all my project students, I give you the rubric. You know the marking rubric. I say, if it does this, do this. If it does this, do this. So you mark one and show it to the AI. The AI will see it and you mark all my pieces. So can you see what I'm talking about? Working smart? And the computers we're having, they are super intelligent. They are fast, they are super intelligent. Imagine a computer that has read all the books. What was the subject? It was a specialist subject in school. Economics. Okay, now listen to this. This computer has read all the work of Adam Smith. It's where all the work published by Harvard Business Review. It's where all the work that every single major economic zone. If you ask it a question, will you answer it?
Yes.
And that's what it is. No, don't mind it, that's what it is. And you will test it yourself. You will test it. When you tested it and you are satisfied, then you give it work to do. And when it does work, you also check. Like I mentioned. Then you give it work to check. When you finish checking, you find that marking is too mundane for you to do. We do higher level job. So as a legislator, every email you have, how many of you have unread email or unreplied email? How many of you have it? Say, I'm going to fire you. You have an AI agent that reads your email, replies to your email because the AI knows you. If you want to book a meeting, I can take 60 Zoom meetings at the same time. Me, I take 60 Zoom meetings at the same time. And none of the Zoom meetings will know that it's not needed. Including one hosted by my mother when we were having a birthday party. My mother that gave birth to me did not know whether it was me attending or my AI. Because everything you know, you've already programmed it, and the person knows that I work. So your salary from now on, as a legislation, you donate it to charity. You know what? It's less than a tax. The salary you got last year, you donate to charity. Because you have acquired additional income, impact, and influence based on the tools you are doing. So please, I just want to make sure that look at the second paragraph, and then at least the most complex tax, which 15 Ivy League PhD holders will struggle to do in 12 months. So you get 15 PhD holders to give them the task, and they're all from top university, and they give you the task. The guy will finish in seconds, and the PhD holder will still struggle. So who are you looking for? That's why some people are afraid that it will wipe off the job market. No, they think it will replace the job. No, it will reshape the jobs. It will reshape the jobs. It will reorientate your thinking. And do you have a database of your constituents?
It's too socially impossible.
No, do you have every name and address of everybody in your constituency? You don't. That's another C. Because you can get all of them and be a database. That's how Elon Musk was able to get Donald Trump when the camera virus. So you have the database, you can communicate with them in real time. Whatever you want them to know, you can tell them. Before any other person tells them. Then there's some people already phoning at home that you don't know and want to talk to you because they want your data from MTN. Did you get some box mails and sometimes telephone post calls? Did you get that? Have you received a phone call from someone you didn't know before?
Yes.
And so you're trying to send something?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Some of them were not right. I apologize. I know they are, or my friend, or some of my father. Now I need you to write it out for yourself so that you can communicate with all the people in your constituency. This time, don't use us call. Click call using Telegram or using WhatsApp. So that they know who you are and where you are. You don't need to go and get leaflet. You don't need pass. You go and distribute leaflet. And that's nonsense. Nonsense. You send them a WhatsApp message, you tell them we can't do this, you give them an offer, you do a lot of things for them, you are a community leader. So you find that we are having this bill, okay, I want to find your opinion on this. Do you think we should go this forward? You survey your members of your constituency using AI.
The problem we have down there, sir, is most of our people down there, they have no rural areas.
Down there?
Yes.
The people that make Tinubu's video viral. Is it not the same country?
It's the same country.
When they were talking about Viking, do you know that internet consumption in the whole world? Let me explain this. If you go to Silicon Valley, 11 a.m. Nigerian time, go to Silicon Valley. You know what happens? All the servers are down. Because Nigerians, they consume internet. They consume, I don't know, where does not get data?
No, we have people into two categories there.
Okay.
There are urban and rural. Actually, those in the urban area will utilize it very well.
Okay.
And the internet.
Okay.
But those ones in the rural area, they don't, even if they manage to have a phone, it's not the one that have access to the internet and the rest. It's just the one for calls and this and that.
Good.
So
Okay.
most of our we presented people they are from rural areas.
Did you hear that now? Did you hear that argument? How many of you been to Kenya? How many of you been to Kenya? Okay. How many of you have heard about M-Pesa? M-Pesa. 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 Okay. You do M-Pesa. If you have, even you know the grandmother 3G phone, not the old phone. And when text message, you have to press.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah? M-Pesa. All you need is one number from M-Pesa. All Nokia. So I can work with you on that, right? We can set up something like that. So I'm going to replicate what we did. But do you know what I'm going to do? No computer graphics, please. No computer professors, no people like you. You know who will do it? Your teenagers. The one that put one hand in one pocket and use the other hand to operate the phone. Those are the people you're for. Because you've been employed the wrong people. These ones are so enthusiastic. They will, have you not seen 7-year-old come to your house? They will take your phone and change the wallpaper.
Yeah.
Who taught them? Who taught them? How many PowerPoint How many sent them that? How did they know that? Those are the people you employ. And those are the people that are my friends. Whenever it comes to technical program. The little girls that come here, they use makeup. But once they start using their phone, very long nails, their nails are not soft nails. They are still person like this. I said, hey, hello, how do you call this nails? I said, no. I'm just them. Very long nails. But if the rate at which they press their phone, you would think they were born. Because they were born in it. That's the language we were born into. So here we're just like 40 million, and anyone, really, anybody can do that. Like I said, you don't have to be smart. And yesterday, I knew that you guys are too smart to be here. Okay, now let me do one last demo. Okay, look at this is definition. This is technical definition. They talk about AI. I can give you the components because we've already defined it our own as a work. We have a working definition. All right. So, what did he say yesterday about my students and my children passing the exam? Which exam was he saying that passing it? What exam? Mathematics. Mathematics. Okay, if I have time, I'll play the video for you. So, we got a 5-year-old now to write the University of Cambridge advanced mathematics. How many years? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're pushing it down. We're pushing it down, right? Because that's how powerful that, right? And this 5-year-old has not read any mathematics book. But he went and sat in the same exam hall as 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old that are scratching their head. And finished ahead of time and scored more marks. And this 5-year-old, the father is not about it. So don't say. The mother is not about it. Yes. So don't say it's in the gene now. This 5-year-old plays what is called manga. And I'm going to make sure that everybody here gets to my account with manga. Try to play at home. You will get annoyed. You know what? Why am I this old now? Why can I be 6 years again so that I can learn mathematics like me? You know, I pray to adult this one and doesn't. See, I didn't know it was this easy. Why did they show us this thing? It was not available in your time. It was more expensive, like I told you. You know how much this phone is? I told you before. You know the entire NASA computer that put Apollo in the moon. Put Apollo on the moon, right? You know, your phone is 700 times more powerful than that computer. Are you listening to this? Sure. The phone you're carrying your hand calling the cell phone is more powerful than the entire computing power of NASA that carried them to the moon and brought them back. So can you define who is a prodigal son? Who is prodigal? Me and my generation. So all you can use it for is to be forwarded to honestly without being. Then when you're empty, you say, oh, I'm looking for money to put on my phone. Really? You have that phone and you're not asking for money? And you show you how to use that phone, apply AI, and make enough money to feed your entire family. Don't use it to play. don't articulate with it. The skill that you use in forwarding that email, that book, that funny video. If you use that same skill to push forward videos that are entrepreneurial, you'll be a multi-millionaire in dollars. You'll be a multi-millionaire. We have a group of widows in Uganda. They have not been to school before. They are widows. We taught them how to use their cell phone to get videos for medical students in digital. So they were helping the medical students in digital and were being paid by the German government. They are widows. They are in rural areas. So they are doing the same thing forwarding video. It's not the video they are showing us are medical school videos. So do you understand what I'm saying? You're just the other point because you're using it as a toy. So make people happy. Video phone everybody laugh. But now I want to use it as a tool for economic empowerment. I won't teach you how to use the phone. You want it to happen. I don't need to teach you how to drive a car. You only know how to drive a car. Use it to carry ambulance. And that's actually what I'm doing. Okay, yes. I'm going to pause here. We'll come back for workshop later.
Yeah.
Yes?
We do the
We'll
workshop.
do workshop later. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prof. If I leave Prof here, he will use the whole day. We'll go to the forum.
You were enjoying it.
We're enjoying it.
I enjoyed it.
Well, I know it's,
I think he's putting us through some things that are.
yeah, Prof is passionate about AI.
Yes.
Ensuring that even though Prof is in his 60s,
Because
in
it's
70s,
Ah.
he's still teaching people as if
He's doing
he's teaching 10 or 15 years.
I'm 16 plus X.
You know, the wonderful thing is that, like Prof said, he's one of Nigerians, probably Nigerians in the UK, around the world. He's traveled, Brazil, also America. Prof used to also be an advisor to the Queen. So remember, you can see that the King's Trust.
Yes.
It used to be part of the board, the King's Trust, which was the charity of put together by the King Charles.
Yes.
When he was Prince, he used to be called Prince Trust. Now he became the king, become the name now to King Trust.
Yes.
He is a board member of that. He's developed loads of young people who are like want to show them multi-billionaires around the world. And those one of them in Nigeria at the moment, like I said, he engaged remote workers across Nigeria, young people who work from home. A lot of companies in the Silicon Valley, around Cambridge here, in Oxford here, and they work from their homes, from their laptop, from their phone. They pay in dollars. So they don't need to come here. They are in Nigeria, but they pay in dollars. Only start home, organizing things for people. So he's got that skill, and most of the time we bring him to share this wonderful ideas and opportunities with me. So he will come out of the workshop with the lunch, and then conclude on the training perspective. So while before we go for lunch, one of our very good friends, my brother, colleague, senior colleague, someone who holds a lot of confidence in and doing things here in the UK across the board. It's part of what I do, here in the UK. Is half Uganda, half India, half Britain. He's three in one. It's three in one. And we found out that we both went to the same university. And he's an associate professor at the same university. He's an associate Professor Asbagan, is it? Pakistan
India.
University,
In India.
and also a couple of universities in India, like the lectures on international relations. Um, he's also an advisor to the Royal House. It was a title introduced by the Queen many years ago, member of the British Empire. It's a well-traveled person and a diplomat, has represented the United Kingdom as ambassador and the trade envoy of the United Kingdom. So he's somebody that has to be here to spend 1 hour and not an easy thing to drive them out. So we're here to share his perspective in terms of how he relates with parliamentarians, country here, and what he thinks about party politics, and what he thinks about representative politics. I'm sure he has a couple of things. He speaks, his English is very dynamic.
Yes. I mean, I was
Listen very well. As you miss the trend of his presentation, but I believe he's,
so we can be serving ourselves.
yes, he's very close to Africans. So please, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, help me to bring my friend and respected colleague, Professor Isham Ivan.
Thank you very much for that. That's what you always get. You're always very complimentary. Thank you, sir. Can you hear me, can't you?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, so my voice is loud. So it's a pleasure to be here. So Constan's an old friend of mine, so I've done a lot of work with him. I used to be deputy chairman of the Conservative Party under David Cameron, and I served with Cameron for 6 years when he was Prime Minister. I had a very fortunate time advising on foreign affairs, traveling the world and trade, doing more trade as well. FBI in the UK. My own background is in business, and I have both things from property, real estate to bar, restaurant, for the UK. I have some interest in Africa as well, in hospitality, in hotels, and those my grandparents left India in 1867 and 1888, and they went to Africa. They settled. They didn't go as far as West Africa. It was very lucky. The East African and South African bloc were very lucky because they had access to India through the seas. So most Indians, they traveled East Africa to Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, and South Africa. Historically, South Africa mainly more for as workers. They were mainly workers on the sugar cane, etc. But in East Africa, my group of people were traders. So my great grandparents were traders in India, and they got on a boat and they docked at Mombasa. From Mombasa, they went to different places and they settled, and they thought Africa home for 100 years until Idi Amin came, and Idi Amin decided to get rid of all of us, and we all came here. And we were British, obviously, because colonies, and the British protected passport. We didn't have Indian passports anymore, so I wasn't alive at the time. And my parents were about 10, 12 years old, 13 years old, and they were all born with British passport. So they all came here in 1970, 69, 70, and then before the United Kingdom home, like Rishi Sunak, and he's also a friend of mine, and he obviously became Prime Minister, and we became a community that became very successful in this country as well over the last 50, 60 years. And you see this with the Indian community in Africa as well. They do very, very well. And wherever they are, I'm sure you have. I know you have England and Lagos and Abuja doing well with business, with diamonds, with minerals, with all these stuff. It's very much part of our culture to get up and work and educate our children and become entrepreneurs. Very much in our culture. So, and also, so I'm actually the son of Africa. I never say I'm the son of India. Yeah, but I'm talking Prime Minister. who's well known to us. You know, I fundamentally believe, and I said this at our summit the other day as well, that the next 50 years is Africa. It's no one else's Africa. And it starts from now. I don't think it started 10 years from now, it's starting now. It should be going on now. You have the resources in the world that everyone wants. And I'm worried that we don't report this, but I'm worried that Trump is not leaving. Yeah, I think you've seen what's happened in Venezuela. Anything's possible with this man, frankly speaking. Anything's possible. We want to bring land next as well. And so, okay. So Africa is clearly on the radar of people in the world. And for us as a government in the UK, Africa has been very much on the cards. And that's why I've got my very good friend, Member of Parliament Burnley, Oliver Ryan, coming later on for the next hour or two. He'll be coming very soon as well. Yeah, nice when I'm speaking now. Yeah, do you think?
Yes.
You can hear me better now?
Yeah.
And so Oliver's coming, he's very close to the Prime Minister, he was one of the Prime Minister's chosen candidates, and the young guy. He's also the chair of the APPG of Saudi Arabia, the old parliamentary group of Saudi Arabia and other countries that the UK is doing all the work with. But fundamentally, I say why Africa is at the heart of every conversation now in the UK. It's because they realise now, the British government realise, and I think the West realise, that you've got a very young population. Yeah, so it's a young market. Number one. Number two, you've been blessed by God with the world's natural resources. Yeah, I think of many countries that have colonized African countries and exploited, and unfortunately, some would suggest that China is doing a similar thing right now as the British did 100 years ago, or 200 years ago, right? And that's the worry, because fundamentally, Africa needs to be able to survive on its own. And it's done through leadership, frankly speaking, right? And I'm not criticizing anyone's leaders because some, your leaders are, only a product of their system. Any leader is only a product of their system. Don't do it. Yeah? No leader can say, I'm going to take a seat for 4 years and change it. It's impossible. Absolutely impossible.
Yes.
And those are the people think that, and then it's why they complain of it's corruption, corruption. Well, actually, coupling that with one person change system, it does take a particular type of individual that comes once every 100 years, or once every 50 years to come in and say, look, I'm going to risk my life, I'm going to check, and I'm going to do everything I can to change it. And it's very difficult to get. India, funnily enough, has been blessed with someone like that over the last 10 years, who decided to come and change the system in India. Okay, Prime Minister Modi, that type of guy, who politically, I may have my differences with him, but what he's done with India as a nation, changed it, right? It's changed it in terms of he's taking out corruption from the grassroots. It's really making a big difference. But those kinds of people don't come very often. So, and he's also had 10 years to do this, right? So this is the problem, that with continuity, you can affect change. But world global affairs that you find right now, if you see what happened in Bangladesh, geopolitics is my subject, I will read into it. But look what happened in Bangladesh with Sheikh Hasina, right? Sheikh Hasina was removed. Yeah? She wasn't removed by her people. She was removed by other people. We all know this. Yeah, because she was not compliant with them. Right? And the same what happened 2 days ago. If you're not compliant, it's what happened. President Museveni is very close to my family, you know him very well. My mother investors in Uganda. And for many, many years, they've been trying to get this again. For many years, 40 years have been there. Everyone knows, for many years they've been trying to get it, but they cannot touch it. Yeah? But only for a certain period of time. Because at some point, they'll get it. Right? And the point is that this is because Africa is of very big interest right now to the West. Because China is very much entrenched in your community. They're very much. And actually, fair to China, to be fair to China, they've really invested. right? For years. Yes, they bring their own staff. Yes, they bring their own people. Yes, they don't employ local people. All of these things are problems. I understand. They are problems, of course. But they know how to do deals. Right? They know how to do deals. And the problem that, this is one thing that I always have, I sit on the board of the UK PLC, this company as well. And one of the things that we do operate, we run Sierra Leone Airport, we do the aviation security for Westminster Group. So we run Freetown Airport, we run the airports in Gabon, we run the Tanzanian Parliament, is secured by us as well, etc. And we do a lot of security. In fact, we also supply X-ray machines to some of your prisons as well, in Nigeria as well. We actually more maybe in your state. So we provide security equipment, X-ray machines, scanning machines, all this kind of stuff. Also, we train the airport staff. Well, we train the airport staff, the airport staff, and we manage airports. But I always say that when we are doing a deal as a British company, there are certain things we cannot do, and the Chinese company comes in and does them, they get the job. You understand me? Yes. Because the Chinese company knows how to do deals. And we in Britain have to be proper, we have to be correct, we have to do things, and sometimes in the African context, it doesn't work. It's very hard, it becomes bureaucratic, it doesn't work. So we are okay because we have not a lot of, we deal with Africa, so we know how to do things, right? But most British companies or Western companies find it very difficult because they're up against the competition of the Chinese companies, most of the time, right? Indian companies are slowly coming in, but not that many, mainly in the East African bloc and the South African bloc, but not so much in West Africa. Some in Ghana. But so there is a huge opportunity here for Africa, a serious opportunity. And each of your states, when I chaired the conference last year in Parliament, it was called Trade for Peace. Because every country in Africa now has a problem of peace, basically, right? Insecurity. Yeah. But if you trade for peace, what I mean by that is, if you give economic security to your people, if you can give empowerment to people to make sure they know that their next paycheck is coming and the flowers in the house, they will not go and fight. Let me tell you this. The reason they're fighting is because they're hungry. Simple as. Well, I think there is an element of greed also there. Okay, so there's an element of greed also there. Okay, but at the grassroots, if you look after people at the bottom, and you genuinely look after them as leaders, they'll be loyal to you. 9 times out of 10, they'll be loyal to you. Think about it yourself. If you're going to people and asking for votes or to go to your party, to support your party, the first thing they'll ask is, what am I getting? Yes. Once you provide what they get, they will support you. 9 times out of 10. One you will get who doesn't even listen to your mother. Yeah, one guy you always get.
Our problem recently, I think, our insecurity is an imported one.
You're sorry?
Our insecurity now in Nigeria is an imported one.
Okay.
The national insecurity, not the local one.
International security.
Insecurity. Those who are causing that, they are not even Nigerians.
They're causing the problems.
Yes.
So they're coming from outside in?
Yeah, they are people coming from outside to come and be doing this.
From where? Neighboring countries?
Yes. No, the whole thing is most of the issue of security. They are using the issue of poverty. It's like just like what you're saying.
Yeah, and you've got the terrorist groups, etc. They look at vulnerable people, and that's what they do. And that's historically they're very good at that. That's what they do. And they do that everywhere in the world. So look at Afghanistan, you fight in Pakistan, it's a big problem. Pakistan is one of the worst problems where they get young children who have no life, or they're orphan children, and they take them from madrasas. Yeah, and they'll take them to madrasas, and they'll feed them nonsense, which is not religion, it's not in any religion.
And what they'll be doing there is
That's right. But they feel lost, they feel that they lost the community, lost that's what they do. But what you have to do, you have to educate people. With education and also money. Those are the two things, and that's why I said that in your state, you need to build trade. You need to build business opportunities. You need to get investment coming in. Because the minute you start employing people, the minute you start people getting jobs, so income stream, whether it's agriculture, whether it's trade, import, export, whatever it might be, security of money. Think about yourself. But just forget about anyone else. When you are comfortable with money at home, I shouldn't say this because I've got married there as well, but when you are comfortable as a man with money, you're different. The way you deal with your wife is different. Yes or no? That's right. Completely. Yes. You feel at peace. Yes. You feel when you go home, you don't need to worry. You can say, okay, darling, I have this thing. Yeah. It gives you peace. Yes. So you take that down to the grassroots level, to the people, the poor people. All they want is to provide so they get the maids in their house for their wife to cook. You understand? That's all they want. They're not complicated. They don't want to sit on a throne and become big. That's what we want to do. Exactly. We want to sit on our offices and get the respect, etc. They're not bothered about it. So if you tend to their basic needs, this is what we forget in Africa sometimes. That even just providing for the basic needs, people are complicated. It's not like in London, where you need to give people specific, education policies and this and that. It's here, it's complicated. Yeah, because the requirements, the needs are different. Back there, it's not that complicated, but we make it complicated. You know why? Because when we're sitting in our offices, we get greedy also. We've been talking very openly. And all I'm trying to say is, yes, we have to look after our family. And one of the big problems, let me tell you, one of the big problems in the world, in my view, is politicians in the world are not paid for it. Let me tell you, your salaries are horrendous. I know this because I come from the private sector into politics. You understand me? So I'm giving you charity when I'm doing politics, frankly speaking. Because you just think about it, you have big businessmen in your state or in your way, you know that. You ask them, do they join politics? They say, please, no, you do politics. Yes, they will say this, yeah. They say, I support your campaign, I give you this, I do that, no problem, but don't talk to me about politics. You do the politics. Why? Think about logistics. Because yes, they need you. Yes, of course they need you also. I want to be your friend. Yes, but they're not stupid because they know that if they come in this, they will also be in the same situation as many politicians. So they're better off growing their businesses for their family and living a much more peaceful life and keeping friends in both political parties. Yeah. But the problem is this: is that if you don't pay your people, I'll give you an example. In London, our prime minister gets paid 160 or 170,000 pounds a year, okay? Which is peanuts. I know him, and he was earning 5, 6, 7, 8 times more than that when he was a lawyer. Yeah, he was a big, you see, he was a casing, King's Counsel, right? Very, very wealthy man. He didn't need to come into this. Of course, once he leaves, he will earn that in 1 hour. When he leaves in office, he will do a speech and he'll get paid 200,000 pounds for the speech. That is different. He earned that money. Understand? But what I'm trying to say is, if you are a government minister and you've got 110,000 pounds and you're having to meet Elon Musk, you're having to meet this person or that person, how can you compete? You cannot sit like that. So what happens to the brain? To that man? He is dealing, your president or whatever, he may not be rich before becoming president. But after becoming president, you become rich. Yeah, because sometimes the situation is such, your state governor, he may not have been rich, he might have been a pastor, he might have been whatever he might have been. Yeah? But when you're in that position, you're dealing with all the wealthiest people of your state. And they are going here, doing this, doing that. What happens to the human mind? He cannot. He has to also be sitting in that society. You understand? You understand? But it's sometimes it's not the human being's fault. So my theory is this: is if you pay political people or you pay people in good offices or with good salaries, they're not you get good quality. You pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Yes. You pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So you want to create your graduates want to come into the public sector. Well, you've got to give them the same kind of pay that they're getting in PwC or corporate houses. You're not expecting to work for peanuts. Why would they come to the government? And then you're left, what happens is you're left with leaders in local government or in state government who are not very able to do other things because they couldn't get jobs elsewhere. They come here. Can you see what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
And I think that whole system has to slowly change. And that has to come from federal government. They have to start paying better, frankly speaking, or state government, whoever pays people's salaries. And this is an important, and of course we can argue there's no money, but I promise you, my brother, there's always money at the top. They always find money for themselves. At the top. So why is it not going down to the bottom? And that is the problem with the government now.
The backward, they cannot even use it.
Yes, or they are investing in their own.
They're not invested there. They come here and invest.
Well, exactly.
You guys are benefiting from.
Well, that's another conversation. Completely different, but this is true. And not just from Nigeria, but everywhere in the world. You come to central London now, every other building is owned by a Qatari or a Saudi or a Emirati or Canadian or Chinese or Russian. Well, Russian, how we are good from that. But the other ones are they're still there. Right? So this is the reality. This London has become a place where people are doing. It's sad, but it's true.
Yes.
And that's what's kept the London property market so strong. If you look today in London, I have some heads of state in Africa, well, I've read it, and I'll not give their names, but they all have interest in London. Yeah, because who doesn't want to have interest in London? Their children, their grandchildren, they all want to come and study and live here. You can't blame them. It's safe. It's safe, security for their children. I understand why. You have to be fair, you understand why. But what I'm trying to say is that until this whole system doesn't change, yeah, the other thing that happens in governance in Africa, and we need to think about this, is this vindictiveness. Today, my party is in power for 4 years. So I employ my man to become DG of this, DG of that, leader of this, leader of that, okay? And the next time around, some other party comes, they remove them.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So think about this. This cycle will never end. So for the next 4 years, you will always hate the other party, always. Because you cannot feed your family. Or it's more difficult to feed your family.
You form a very stable position.
Exactly. So that's, in many ways, that's vindictive city government. Because the DG of airports might have been excellent. He may have been doing a great job, for example, say. But you're just removing him because he was supporting the other party.
Yeah.
You're not seeing that he's actually very good and he's created 3 more airports and he's done this and that. You should be employing him for that. Yes, if he's rubbish, you remove him. No problem. But if he's doing the work and you're removing him, then that's political. And then what happens is that stops the progress of your state, your region, your country. Because you bring in politics into this employment. You do it with ambassadors. I understand people do it with ambassadors. Okay? That happens all over the world. You can do it with your ambassadors. Because ambassadors usually are friends or they're political allies or they're funders or donors to the party. I understand that's a different matter. Yeah? But even with ambassadors, if you have senior high-ranking foreign office ministers or foreign office workers, they should be getting the post, not your political friends. I understand 1 or 2 you might want to do, because that's politics that happens everywhere in the world. Yeah? But not the bulk of your people should be foreigners, should be from, like, I understand Nigeria hasn't sent any ambassadors right now. Yeah? Now for me, I have never and ever seen a situation in my lifetime where a country like Nigeria has not had an ambassador in this country for how many years now?
Yes.
It is beyond. Now, I don't know Nigerian politics. I have zero knowledge of Nigerian politics. Okay, but for me, that's shameful. I cannot. And I don't know anyone's politics because I don't know the internal politics of Nigeria. I'm not aware of it. And Malawi, I'm very close to, which I'm very friend of mine. So I can tell you about Malawian politics or Ugandan politics or Tanzanian politics very much, but not Nigerian politics. But so I don't know what the situation is. But my point is, how can you not have? This is your biggest posting. New York, Washington, and London are the biggest postings for any African nation, unless you are francophone, then it's Paris, not London, right? But how can you not do that? And that tells me that there's a serious problem of government then. If you cannot decide where to send your ambassadors or who you should send, and the image it then gives to Britain. So today now, the engagement between the British and the Nigerian embassy now, pretty much next to zero. But the engagement with the British and Indian embassy is going up here every day, right? Or even smaller countries, believe you me, even like Tanzania or Malawi. Tanzania is not small, but Malawi is big. The Malawian High Commissioner is in Parliament every other day. Now, where is Nigeria? Where is Malawi?
Even if you come here, you will not go to the parliament.
Huh?
Even if you come here, you will not go to the parliament.
But my point is that the image it gives. Can you see what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
And I think little things like that, if you think, if you realize your actions have a consequence.
Yes.
Yeah. Then you have to understand that, and on the back of that, that will affect trade between Nigeria and Brazil. Exactly. Yeah. And I think these little things that, people need to understand. Now, if I did meet your, the trade minister, a lady, very smart lady. What was her name? She came, your trade minister. She came to the Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce. Lady, skinny lady, very smart.
What's her name again?
I was very impressed. What's the name?
Minister for Commerce and Industry. Yeah, the city.
Okay.
You were in.
Skinny lady, yeah, Commerce and Industry. Very nice, yeah. Very smart lady. You see, if women like that are serving in his government, that's a smart. She's a smart girl, smart lady. But whether she has any power, I don't know.
This present administration has smart people.
Huh?
This present administration in Nigeria has smart people.
Yeah. So my point is, well, your foreign minister should be appointing ambassadors here.
Yes.
And this is the big. I don't know whether you belong to their party or I don't know.
They belong to the law.
The majority is and the party of the government.
Ah, okay, good. So this is good.
Yes.
No, I'm really because I want to come in because I want Nigeria.
It's possible.
Who? You? No. You just joined the party.
They just joined the party.
I will join the party.
So I was very impressed with that minister. She was very smart lady.
Yeah.
And if that is the quality of ministers that the president is appointing, that's very good.
Yeah,
That's right. Yes. Really smart lady. And I think if those are the people that need to become the ambassadors of your country in a larger, and I think if that is done properly, then you'll see that trade, because I believe this, and I strongly believe this, when you trade with someone, you forget about the little things. When you do business with someone, you forget about the little problems. You don't worry about those things. They become minuscule. And I think this is why that people have to, and then what I'll give you look at Saudi Arabia and the UK as an example. Okay? Saudi Arabia has so many human rights issues on paper.
Yes.
Okay? But look at Trump, look at my prime minister. They're there any time he calls it. Why? Because of the trade bill.
Yes.
So which is more important then? Will they then say, oh, this killing happened, or that happened, or this happened, or this happened? They're not going to talk about it then. With Museveni, they talk about LGBTQ plus rights. Yeah, because there's not that much money in this. But if he was Saudi Arabia, they don't talk about that. Saudi Arabia also has the same view as Museveni. There's no difference in the views. Right? But why? Because where did they see the interest? And that's where China has done very well. Because they've seen their interest. And they've seen actually my interest lies in this. The African interest lies in this. Let's meet in the middle. And that's why Africa has been open to them, frankly speaking. And I don't blame Africa. No. I don't blame Africa at all. I blame ourselves in the West. That for years and years you colonized countries. Same in India, they did the same thing for 400 years, they even colonized them. Yeah. And they took everything. Okay? The reality, you cannot run away from it. But I am British citizen, proud one. I represent Britain on many platforms. The truth is the truth. Yeah. The truth is the truth. You plundered us, you took everything you want. And then now you say we're proud. You understand? You've taken everything from us. Right? Now, what India has done very smartly over the last 30 years in particular is industrialize itself. They said, look, you've taken it, now we're going to go back in history. But we're going to show you now. Yeah? If China, and of course with India, it's not China on its borders. It has to compete all the time. Compete so much. If it doesn't compete, it will lag behind, right? So it's constantly doing that. But the point is that we need to get out of this mindset because your children are not following. Remember this. Their brains are not following. Yeah. I mean, you must tell them that you are just as good as equal as a white man.
Yes. But, Prof,
Ah.
thank you so much for this contribution.
Alright.
But, there's my team, when I was in secondary school, sorry, when I was in the university, I read economics. My teacher taught me about mercantilism system and principles. And I was like believing that some of the principles of that system have actually gone, like poverty. You know, under mercantilism, poverty, they look at it as an asset because they utilize it to influence a lot of things in society. But what is actually now happening is that the West has now actually calculated on that poverty. So much so that even when you have a good leader from Africa that is well determined to transform the life of people, you will find out that once the government make a policy that is very nice, a policy that is actually in line with the objectives of following the life of the people, the West will now come out and say, no, we will not support that policy because they don't want us to come out of it. Yeah. Understand? So if actually these people want us to progress, having colonized us for quite a long time, and we are now believing to enjoy what we call independence. At least they should have allowed us to do what we feel is good for our people and our society. Yeah. I was explaining something yesterday regarding some of these problems. One of our biggest problems today is that it's like the West have made it a reason they will not allow us to govern ourselves. Why? Because anytime we enact a policy, whether that policy is coming from the executive or from the parliament, or even a law that the parliament is about to do in order to transform our society, the West will not come out and say, we are not going to support you.
Or they don't change the regime.
Yes. During Buhari, the whole country, the whole Nigeria as a nation, including its people, irrespective of type of religion, believes that the man is a progressive-minded person. That the man is really committed to seeing that Nigeria, is changed. So, and that is why you can see that he contested from people from an opposition political party. Yeah. But there was an absolute reason between the people in that country to make sure that they bring him to power so that things will change. And they have succeeded in doing that. But when the man came on board, the first thing was that all the countries of the West have already set in a trap. Any move this government can make West changing things, they will now say, okay, we are going to live with you, but based on certain conditions. And that is why you can see that most of the policies cannot even work, cannot even be implemented because the conditions are very, very hard. Our government cannot even enjoy it. Now, coming back to this present administration that we're talking about, thank God we say they are like very good people, serving in this government. Yeah. We too, really appreciate that. We know them very well. In fact, it's a team of very intelligent people.
Smart, yeah.
We agree with that. But it will shock you on the very day the president of the Federal Republic was on it. The first policy statement he makes when he was asked to address the people, what did he say? He said the subsidy regime has gone. And the truth is that the issue of whether or not subsidy should be removed, it's not a thinking of the Nigerians. It is a thinking of the West that we must remove that subsidy because there is a thing that they are targeting at. So, in summary, what that I'm saying is that it's not that we don't have good leaders completely in Africa. Of course, it's not going to be, it must be a kind of, it's not going to be like that. There must be people who are really, people on there.
No, there are, yeah.
Yes, the simple truth is that the West has already determined itself, they have already resolved anything that will bring our people out of poverty, they will not like it because they are considering poverty like as an asset.
All what you're saying
Use
is
it to influence everything they want,
any of the
including the insecurity that we're suffering from.
any of the
So,
presidents,
the ways must understand this, and they must also understand that we are the people that are supposed to be independent. We are also human beings like them, and we are right enough to be allowed to inflict that, that they are of independence. That's the most important thing. Not to continue pushing old blames to our leaders. It's not like
no, it's interesting. And I think the perspective of, so what you're saying is, up until they get elected, they have great visions, great mandates, great manifestos, great ideas. And then once they get into power,
yeah.
they become like puppets. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Ah. Because someone else is governing them. That's what you're trying to say. Yeah, look. Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're trying to say. And I understand.
No,
I can't say much more than that, but I understand what you're saying.
just as I'm just saying, you have been a friend to so many
Yeah.
head of state, and you know the policies. You have just mentioned it here that, like Trump, with some powerful countries, when they went to do a discussion, they know what to discuss. Because Trump is interested in one thing from them, they are interested in one thing from them. So that understanding is there.
Yes.
So, based on what my colleague here is saying, already, they determine who becomes the president and what will become.
Yeah.
What if you cannot go along with their own policy from how they want to run the country, they will not even allow you to be the head of that state.
It's true. And that's where when they cannot influence those countries, they get very upset. What happened 2 days ago, or in Uganda, they cannot manage to make it right. They're trying to be very different. Because you've got people there that are willing to die. So, when you have leaders like they can't do it in Iran, for example, right? They can't do it in certain Islamic countries, they cannot do it. So they have to play the game. They have to play on the game of trade. In African countries, they do it very easily, unfortunately. I've seen that. And partly because of your situation. Because if the leader is in a compromised situation, and often they are, right? Because they're thinking about themselves or their families, or, and the other thing that I noticed, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, many former presidents, they don't stay in their country, they leave.
Yes.
Yeah? And sometimes it's not because they want to leave, I promise you. Sometimes it's not because they want to leave. They want to die on this soil, really. Right? Sometimes they've done bad things, sometimes, yes. But other times they're persecuted by the person who wins again, against them. You should have say, yes, so it's not, sometimes they may have done something wrong, but actually what they're fearful of is even if they haven't done anything wrong, the other person's going to come and do something. Like, I'll give you an example right now, what's happening in Malawi. Costa Rica is he's being pretty decent, actually, if you look at it. The DPP is trying to go for the other party, for sure. The other leaders, maybe the Secretary of the General Secretary or the NCP, etc. But they're sparing each other. Because I think that's gentleman politics. You should have a gentlemanly, cordial relationship. Otherwise, the democracy, they don't work. But yeah, these are very interesting points. I'm glad you raised it. Because I couldn't say what you said, but I understand. Yeah. And I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And so it's that issue that we have to.
Another point is that
Yeah. So what is your name?
no country in West Africa can produce more instruments. So if we are using, if there is a serious issue of food security in the African society, particularly in the West Africa, then where are we getting all these work instruments that we're using to create insecurity in our society? Where are they getting it? I believe there is a poverty. I believe they are facing a lot of serious poverty issues. Then They cannot just create insecurity with an empty hand. They are using these those instruments, and we are not taking it our place. That means the waste is considering our problems, as a, our situations as a market, space for them to sell all these instruments.
What about, yeah, I mean, I think most of them are well, but what do you do? Sorry, I didn't give you a name.
What do you say? My name? Allow me to Idris. Yes.
And you're in heaven?
Yes, actually, yes, sir. Yes.
It's in, how many assembly members?
Almost part of the Senate too.
Oh, lovely. Oh, so then you understand what I'm saying, because you've been elected. Yeah, it's true.
Even before one
And you wonder why sometimes nowadays elections are very different from the way they used to be. Before you go to one family in Africa, I've run elections in Africa, so I know. Go to one family, and then one family you know 100%, all 10 of them will vote for you. All 10. You 100% know how you can do that. Now you cannot guarantee that. No matter what, even if you're giving them the beer, you're giving them the food, you're giving them whatever you're giving them, you cannot guarantee they'll vote for you.
Yes.
And you know why? Because of this. Social media. The young people, you have zero faith on, let me tell you now. Maybe they're not vote. But if they do vote, they're certainly not going to vote for you necessarily. You need to make sure that you are understanding A, what they're the issue. That's why social media campaign now is the way people win elections. It's not about what you do now.
Yes. It's all about propaganda.
Yes, propaganda, PR. Otherwise, how does someone like Trump win? Think about logic. One thing I should have done a session on election campaign. That's my subject. I run elections. I run elections for many years. That's why I know some of your leaders. And so I have a very good win rate. So, but this is the problem. Now it's not about substance. So Trump, he can say anything, it doesn't matter. I promise you tomorrow, when Trump talks Greenland, not a single person in Europe can do that. I promise you. NATO will collapse. Yes. Why? Because he is running on propaganda.
100%.
So he's telling everyone now that the Chinese and the Russians have the boats in Greenland. So he's going to put in the mind of the French, the German, the British, that I'm doing this for world security.
Yeah.
And of course, these people will do anything for America. They'll do anything for America. So Greenland, I promise you, within this term, will go to America.
Okay.
Watch. And if Colombia doesn't watch it, Colombian guy will go, he's already, you understand? Okay? America do this all the time in Latin America. They picked up the Honduras guy, Honduras in Central America.
Yes.
Now they're letting go, apparently, Trump let him go, actually did it here. Understand me? But the point is that this is a new world order.
Yes.
So Trump knows that if he doesn't start becoming like Putin or like Xi in China, then the West is going to collapse.
Yes.
He knows this.
Like,
Understand? So he's not stupid. In fact, the leaders in Europe need to wake up now because we are we're correct, we're too correct.
Protocol.
But yes, protocol, politically correct, we don't say one word wrong. Understand? The world is going to become led by people like Mussolini, people like this, who will say things like crazy things. They think it's crazy. It's not. It's very smart. People think Trump is crazy. If he's crazy, how does he manage to go in the White House?
Yes. Very smart.
He thinks one of the smartest people in the world.
Yes.
And I hate his politics. But I don't need to like his politics. I need to learn from him.
I like politics.
Huh?
I like
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think, look, he's a racist. Sure. This is the reality. But some would say he's not. Some would say he's all about money and business. Yeah. So,
He's
okay.
open that you
But
want
it's
to
interesting. Some people are willing to forget how he treats people on race because they like the fact that he's trying to change things. You understand me? So it depends in life. You can have different opinions, right? I mean, this is what I think Trump is USP is. He says things randomly. And you think it's random. Boris Johnson is similar. You know where Boris Johnson is?
Yeah.
He's very similar. Not as dangerous as Trump, but very similar. People liked him. Used to like him. People come pictures of him. But he, he was the type of guy that would say things from, and it would be natural. And that's what people like about Trump.
And I think what makes him more popular is the choice of the candidate that the Democrat gave initially.
Yeah,
It makes him very, very popular.
yes,
At the long run, they understood it was lead.
yeah,
They wanted to change it, but it was lead.
yeah. And this is a country that's never had a female president.
Yeah.
And you're putting a female president up against a man who's a,
Who's
he's a lion.
But she's more racist than Trump.
She is.
Yes. Because she doesn't like so many countries.
Yeah, she had a big problem with India as well. Even though she didn't do the
Even Israel. That's
So Trump has his chances and he utilized it very well.
Oh, yeah, she's a genius.
Yes.
Political genius. Also had a lot of money, Elon Musk. The whole social media.
He got that into his behind.
Yeah. So that's smart. And even now, they still have dinner like 2 days ago. They have dinner together, Elon Musk. They're pretending that they're not.
Yes. It's perfect. I had somebody saying that they are just mathematics.
Playing game with the money. They want, each company is going down.
Yes.
I followed an interview of Hillary Clinton where she said that she's not afraid of Trump, she's afraid of the children.
Yeah.
They are more smarter than actually.
Right, also the.
All right, yeah, thank you very much.
I enjoyed it.
How is it around? For question and answer later.
His names.
Professor Kishan Ivan. Professor Kishan Ivan.
DEVANI. Send it to everyone.
K. I. Kishan.
Yeah.
I wanted to LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter, and all of that stuff.
Kishan.
KISHAN, Divine, DEVAN. Well, have you checked online? If you're on Instagram,
Let's go down. Kishan.
Hmm?
Kishan.
yeah.
Your link is Instagram.
Kishan Ivan. Professor Kishan Ivan. On Instagram, LinkedIn, on there. Yes. Yeah. Kishan. Yes. Ivan. DEVANI. See that. So, yeah, we'll be having Honorable Ryan.
Yeah.
About 2 o'clock, is it?
Yeah, 2:30, yeah, 2:15.
We'll go for a lot of break and come back around 2:30 or so. Have enough time to stretch around. Take a time. And then when we come back, the honorable will be here to talk to us about for 45 minutes. So we can ask some questions about what happened in the parliament, how they run the parliament. They also run classes like you run in the house, the house speaker, and the house of or the house speaker, and chief whip, we have all those things that they ask him all that questions, how they do that presentation committee, we have all the other committees. Wrong. So we asked him a few questions like that. Yeah, so then so all sign the certificate presentation, and then we'll do the certificate presentation. I hope we are all looking smart for that. We get if we are not, we can change before we come back. And we launch, during the launch, we change for that. We look smart for that. And also tomorrow, Prof have said that tomorrow we'll be going to visit the parliament. Prof have been Chris has been to arrange.
Okay, nice.
The group visits to the parliament.
Okay.
2:30.
Yes, 2:30.
2:30.
We'll go to the gallery, the upper house, we'll see them in action, and then we'll go to the green, so-called lower house, because they are more power than the upper house, and then you see the action, the debate, and the argument of the world.
If I'm in the house,
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
2:30. So you need to dress, you need to dress smart, suit and tie. If the candidate properly, because it's going to be higher.
Your program is going to be everywhere.
Program will be.
Yeah.
You will be in the news, because you might enter the committee room, depending on what time, but you will be in the local news.
Yeah.
BBC news. So your face and you will show, and you will see subcommittee meetings, committee meetings, APPG meetings, just sample, and then we'll go up to the Westminster Hall, the oldest place in Parliament, over 1,000 years old. So you see where why they call it really the mother of power. And then everybody will get a copy of the order paper today.
Yeah.
So you have that as souvenir. So there are a few things that have been.
Oh.
You guys are privileged, this is not, and you're privileged for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Tomorrow. No, after the land of.
Yes.
Chief. So when you come back from.
Yeah, we're going to do a LinkedIn. Everybody's going to come on LinkedIn. So it's not just a theory.
When you come back from.
Yeah,
Let's keep let's make the time so that we get. Let's keep the time because you never know. Every has only 1 hour. You want to come and present it. It comes at the.
sorry. Yeah, I will introduce him. I already said so that. Yeah. Yeah. It's a PhD from Canfield University. Canfield University, yeah. The military university. So we'll read out the profile and how he's using AI for research and things like that. Well done. So deputy, what happened to deputy speaker? Eh? It's left, is it?
Still left?
No, it was okay. So
Can go for lunch.
no.
You can join us for lunch, yeah. Downstairs in the restaurant. Send the restaurant.
So it's well done, sir.
This thing is still on.
Yes, it's on.
It's still on.
Let me
Are you
pause it.
recording it? What's
No.
it?
I should have paused it. So it's been a very great morning.
It is.
Okay, okay. Hi, Fireflies. Please, can you tell us what topics were covered so far in this legislative training and leadership meeting in London?
Topics covered include Africa's economic potential and geopolitical importance, foreign investment strategies, creating job opportunities to reduce conflict, government accountability and anti-corruption measures, diplomatic representation, the role of social media in elections, leadership qualities, policy independence for African nations, and comparative governance practices across regions.
Hey, Fireflies. We had some people that could not speak or read English. Can you translate the summary in French?
I'd be happy to translate the summary for your attendees. Which language would you like me to translate it into?
French, please. Hey, Fireflies. Translate the summary to French, please.
Les sujets couverts incluent le potentiel économique de l'Afrique et son importance géopolitique,
Can you see? It's translated in French and it gave us the text in French. Hey, Fireflies. Please, can you translate the summary so far in Hausa as spoken by Northern Nigerians?
patutuan da aka sa asunod da skahada, ikon tatalin arzikin Afrika da mahimansyad da siyasar dunia, dabarun jari-jaring kasua, aiki don salakewa at sakanin rikici-rikici, alhaking guamnati da matakan sabar chinabu, wakilchin mulking kasua, rain media azae, halaye nagida, nufin-nufin siyasar kasasyan Afrika, da abubuan haua na zaben mulki ajajere daban-daban.
So here we go. Let's start this section as we were introduced this morning, and we covered very important sections, and we addressed the core issue, starting from the power of smartphones, or so-called smartphones, because we now realize it's not just phones, it is a mega computing device that is 700 times more powerful than the computing power that put man on the moon. So if your phone is 700 times, not 7 times, not 70 times, but 700 times more powerful than the computer that put a man on the moon, as described by NASA, then it's not really a smartphone. It is a mega device that is able to make millions of dollars, millions of euros, millions of pounds for anybody that knows how to press the right button. Pressing the right button is an issue. It's not whether or not it's powerful. Most people press the wrong button for entertainment, forwarding viral videos to individuals, go on social media just to post once in a blue instead of posting every day. Or worst case, just to read and not post. AI is a divine opportunity to be able to bridge the gaps that was lost during the AIDS, because most people just use the tools that are available to them, and their productivity is out of that. So if you have a new tool that was not worked on, if anything, that's not owned by anyone. The internet is not owned by one single authority. It has to be developed. So we have to embrace it and use it professionally, legislatively, and use it for leadership. Not having Truth Social, one of the new social media platforms owned by President Donald J. Trump, is literally a sin. Every politician in every country, in every continent, should at least have some presence on Truth Social. It doesn't matter your political ideology. It doesn't matter whether you are for or against Trump. It doesn't matter whether you are for or against Matt. It is not who you are for. It's whether the world knows your views or whether your views are low. Even if you don't have a view, you can come on and present it for and against in every argument and decide to be on the fence. Then you are visible to everyone. So, and it is interesting that will pathwise have been literally shot through what everybody now knows, that 75% of FT 500 companies in US, 75% of their staff depend on meetings, to call it what we don't call it, is more powerful than anybody can describe. Paradox. And the world is grateful to Sam Production, whose mother finished from ABU all those years ago, for demonstrating to us that voice AI is a cash scheme. Voice AI was what he worked on, specialized on, and is now used to completely dominate niche. And thank God, now clearly a unicorn, independently verified as a unicorn company. It's worth $1 billion or over. So, in this special meeting and training of the current and future leaders from Plateau State in Nigeria, with all the legislators present today, it become apparent that all our phones have to have a new download today, not tomorrow, today. And our physical presence has to be made manifest. And the use of computers as well at home is something that we cannot shy away from. Every single child should have access to supervised computing. Don't say it's going to harm them and therefore take them off what some people will call the dangerous part of social media. But it's showing them how they can use it positively, showing them how they can use it unit, showing that how can you for good. Economic empowerment, writing books, translating books. That's a good thing. Yeah. So it's been a great day. I hope the next session is even as good, except that my phone is going to pick it up enough. So I hope the next session will be just as good and able to make everybody enjoy what we have learned today. And not just enjoy it, but apply it. That's where the issue. We must apply it. If we apply it, we'll be able to get things through. So we're going to have the rare privilege of getting Sam Oduton, the father of Isaac Oduton, the former NASA engineer, speak to us briefly about how fireflies can help any legislative house and also do a demo. Isaac, are you able to say anything now? I think I've made you a I think I made you a co-host. Hello, Isaac.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so we're testing it. So what we're going to, in the next few minutes, we're going to have honorables and our leaders coming and from lunch, and it will go straight into the cardinal points of how fireflies specifically can do something for each member and collectively each committee, because every single committee has regular meetings. And then the house. So we'll break it down into those three levels. Each legislative member, how can fireflies help them today in doing their task? Because it was very instructive that Plateau in the last assembly voted money for each member to have a laptop. And they wanted to manage their information system. That's very futuristic. So it's something that we will acknowledge in our discussions. Okay, do you have anything to say? Or do you want to share your screen and just let's be sure that your co-host functionality is working.
Okay.
Can you share?
Yeah, let me do that now.
Okay. So we'll just project you straight on the screen so that everybody hears and then sees. Good. Yeah. Good. If you've taken over the screen, it means that your screen is in sync. Yes. Yes. So you just take all of us through how fireflies can help. Number one, individual members. Number two, committees and all committee activities. Then number three, what the entire house does with the speaker and sessions.
Okay.
You are ready now?
Yeah, just give me a few minutes.
Okay.
Yes, the live note. Let me just get to the live note that we can see it's on live.
And if you have done anything on them in the northern Nigeria, is there any project we've done in northern Nigeria that Fireflies has done?
Yes, right now we are working on a project concerning Hausa and Arabic. You know,
Yes.
those with informal education, getting Fireflies to interact in that local languages, to make.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have that
Are you
project.
able to show any meetings from that so that we can demo that to the honorables?
Well, it's only what we had are planning meetings, not the actual meeting itself, but it's the planning
That's fine.
meeting.
But that's
Yeah.
fine. It just to show that it is already in the pipeline.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I will we'll show them that when they come.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Now let me do. Let me prompt Fireflies again for a summary of what we discussed so far.
Okay.
Hey, Fireflies. We have legislators from Nigeria, specifically from the Plateau state of Nigeria, that have had training here today. Please, can you summarize what has been discussed so far up to this minute?
We've covered Africa's economic potential, foreign investment strategies, job creation to reduce conflict, government accountability and anti-corruption, diplomatic representation, social media's role in elections, leadership qualities, policy independence, comparative governance practices, smartphone technology and governance, and demonstrated how Firefly's AI assists individual legislators, committees, and parliamentary sessions.
Yeah, that doesn't, that sounds okay, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Okay. The only thing it cut out was what was discussed at the very beginning.
Yes.
Because we made, yeah, go ahead.
Was Fireflies available that time? Did they attend that meeting? The beginning, the very beginning.
I think the second Fireflies will, the one that is tackling it through YouTube.
Okay.
You got that?
Okay. Yeah. The YouTube.
The second one, the YouTube
Okay.
Fireflies. See whether we can show the minutes of that or the conversations from that.
No, I didn't get the I didn't send it to the station. But if we have the YouTube link at the end of it, we can upload the YouTube link directly to Firefly.
Then we'll be able to do live. So are we able to send it now? Still send it. I don't think it's late. You know, I sent you a YouTube link.
Yeah, but if we do that, if we we can do if the YouTube link the session is going on YouTube right now. We have a live this one, the live I've already you can see my screen. If you see my screen, you can see that it's a live session has been enabled. So it's this one.
Yes, I know.
Taking
but the challenge with this live one is that what we discussed prior to this is only I think available on YouTube. Google, no, on YouTube and on Twitter Spaces.
Okay.
If you follow me on Twitter Spaces, available on Twitter Spaces. So if you can capture, no matter how little it does, because Twitter Spaces started right from the word go.
Okay. In that case, now it will be the recording. It will be the recording once I have the link to the
okay.
What I have to link to the YouTube, then I can upload it. That will have to be by upload because what was not recorded in the past, unless you upload the entire link, then he will now go and then pick and then begin to process it.
Okay, please. I've just sent it to you now. So can we do that pari passu? Can we do that alongside as we are talking now, so that before the end of today, we'll see what is able to capture in the first half. I just sent it to you by WhatsApp right now. My Twitter Spaces.
Okay.
Please check it. We'll see whether you can do that.
I would prefer the YouTube Do you have the YouTube?
I already sent the YouTube. I can resend it.
Okay, let me see.
Oh, the beauty of Twitter Spaces started before the YouTube.
YouTube has a format that I can easily pick up on the YouTube.
Okay. But Twitter Spaces is audio alone.
Yeah. Twitter Spaces will be for live. The YouTube link I can capture the pre-existing session from the YouTube link. The Twitter Spaces will only be good for live.
Okay. Okay. Let's, if that's what we can do, let's go ahead for that.
Yeah, if you put the YouTube link, then I can use it for what had been done in the past. From the beginning.
There is the okay. Here is the YouTube link. It's called AI Plateau Path to Prosperity and hashtag AI for Plateau. I have now sent it through your LinkedIn.
Okay.
So if you check your LinkedIn, it should be there now. It's here. Okay, then let's play. Okay.
You left your lunch, Uncle.
And no, because they called me from New Jersey. The guy's gonna go live, so I wanted to.
When they sit down,
Um,
quickly run stuff. The MP is not wasting time.
no, let the MP do his own first.
No, because after you finish,
Oh.
you will not sit down here.
So I should pick it from the LinkedIn.
Yes, you can pick it from LinkedIn.
Okay, let me do that. Um, yeah, when you copy something from LinkedIn, it attaches the file. You attach it, LinkedIn tag along. It's not in a beta format. No.
Okay, so are you ready now?
Yeah, LinkedIn is tagging along their metadata. So it's not in a good. Can you post it in WhatsApp for me?
Yeah, I'll try. I'll do.
Yeah, because linking always they want to tag in their metadata when
Yes.
you take something from there.
And do you want the one of the? Do you want on the Twitter Spaces or do you want the YouTube?
YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, ladies. Everybody's here. Where is this now? He doesn't have a toy. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Everybody says.
He is Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, so Isaac, you got the link now.
Okay.
Check it. It's on WhatsApp.
Okay.
We're ready. Yes. 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 Are you sure? You have to do your family tree. Have you done your what's called? Ancestry.com.
The one, how was it?
Yeah, so, can we, I know we have one or two of the members still not here. Please, yeah, please, we need to start now because of time. So the prof will finalize, then we'll get to one of you to round off, and then this, the remaining protocol is as follows. Thank you for coming back in enough time after the lunch break. Really appreciate your time. While we're on break, honorable member joined us at the lunch group and had his own wonderful lunch with us. And we will be doing a small bit of the program before we do the ceremony and then go out to there. Before that, I'd like to recognize a very good friend who has joined us here, supporting Professor Chris Joe. This PhD student or PhD?
It's completed his doctorate.
That's his PhD.
It just completed.
Hartfield University. Bedfordshire. So he's there. He's one of, I think, one of Prof. Mentees. So you can see those who are coming out of Prof. Grant, you know. So probably he will say something a bit or will leave to you. I'm sure you come from Nigeria too.
Banjoko.
No, I mean he came from Nigeria, so that he was staying here.
Yeah,
Oh,
listen.
All right, so I will invite Prof back there. I think he has somebody online. We need to keep to time, Prof, so that Ryan hasn't got much. You need to run back to Parliament. A lot of committee meetings holding this afternoon. So he needs to vote. So he doesn't want to be vote. You know, in this country, when they are being voted and the MP is not around, and the message here to your constituency, the one could be called back and cannot be voted for next time. Yeah. Because they will tell them when they are voting issue concerning you, your MP was outside India in the pub. So, Rob, I give it to you.
Thank you very much indeed. I hope all of us here are back with our cell phone now. And we know that this session is not going to be a paper meeting. So just, if we can just open our voice notes, because we hear when people are talking, they both have the speed of your communication compared to your writing. It delays. That's why they say, oh, stop, can you say that again? So I can write it down. That will never happen again from now on to you when you're in any meetings or to any of your staff when they're in any meetings. So no times will be missed as a legislator. That's called you. Number two, all of you that are in subcommittees, as chair of the subcommittee, you must have it recorded. And you don't need any big instrumentation. Now, what you have is a mega telephone, a mega internet thing. It is not a cell phone. So once you are talking, just press that voice note and it captures the entire meeting. And with the training we are going to provide, that meeting will be transcribed and given to you in minutes, not in hours. So your Hansard department in the legislature, they are now on retirement. We're going to use their skills and talent in other departments. Literally, because the power of transcription and translation was there. And let me just do a quick demo to show to you the power of this AI in using it as a legislator individually, in your subcommittee as a group, in the whole house in every meeting you're having. Then let me just try, I'll just do a quick demo here. So here is our Zoom, and here is our AI assistant. Hey, Fireflies. Please, can you summarize the content of the meetings we've discussed so far regarding the training of Plateau legislators?
Covered Africa's economic development, foreign investment strategies, corruption and accountability, diplomatic representation, social media's electoral impact, leadership recruitment challenges, policy independence, comparative governance, smartphone technology's power, and demonstrated Firefly's AI's capabilities for individual legislators, committees, and parliamentary sessions.
Thank you. So did you hear that? Yes. Is that a first summary of what was done? Okay. Hey, Fireflies. Please, can you translate the entire summary for Northern Nigerian Hausa speakers?
Ang jikin jarin da akatatara, munrufe, chigaba ekonomi na Afrika, dabarun siya sa jari-jaring kasua, chutarwa da alhakin mulkin kasua, wakilchin mulkin kasua, tasirin jita-jita azae, kalakallen neman jagorar mahadi, nufin-nufin siyasar kasasyan Afrika, abubuan hauan na zaben mulki, karfi na fasahar wayar hannu, danuni yadda ay Fireflies zaytay makagamasoin mulkin kasua, gungun bajaranchin, da ita jamal.
So is that a fair representation of that in Hausa? Okay, is there another language that you speak that you may want us to test it? Because I don't just want us to leave this training the same. You cannot afford to use this tool.
Can you use any of the other Nigerian languages? Any of the Nigerian languages?
Hey, Fireflies. Please, can you translate it to the Nigerian language of Yoruba as spoken by Southwestern Nigerians? Oh.
Atunwo idagbasoke ajolokini ti Afrika, ilana ofinti aja ita epo ile ala japa, akunlehinti orisiriri, ipa oshelu niawan ijinle, olupinti olominira, ilana ile eko titumba. Agbara irino kerekere ati ifi hampe Firefly AI lesiran loo funa wanulukon ile eko ju eko lo, awanegi ati awan ipile eko.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm trying to say is that if you have any person that speaks any language, yes, literally, there's an AI that has not been converted in using machine learning for any language. So that's why I'm saying that the tools we have in this generation is an unforgivable sin if we don't use it and allow other people to use it to exploit us because of the technology is there. And the cost of it is incredible. So that's essentially what we are in for. I'm just going to switch over to New Jersey now. The gentleman I spoke to you earlier is the man I used to be the NASA engineer. I'm calling on the phone while we're on the and we want to do a demo of this unicorn. Multi-million, I was excited, and that is $1 billion in so-called company. Because it started as a teenager submitting an undergraduate thesis and then having that developed to be something. So I'll just switch over to. Hello, Isaac.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I just introduced you. I don't know whether you heard. Are you able to share the screen now? I think you are a co-host and demonstrate to our legislators the powerful tool called Fireflies. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Does everybody see my screen? You see my screen? Let me know if you see my screen.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Okay. Yes, Firefly's recording features automatically captures audio and video from meetings using an AI bot called Fred. You also have a Chrome extension, mobile or desktop apps, or by uploading, we can also upload files. It support platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, and WebEx, as well as in-person recordings via mobile devices. Recording include timestamp and can be downloaded for archiving purposes. Now, for individual legislators, a legislator can use recording during constituency consultations or one-on-one meetings with stakeholders, such as discussing local infrastructure needs with community leaders. For example, a member from Mikpan constituency can record a town hall session on agriculture issues, ensuring all points raised by farmers are captured without manual note-taking. Allowing focus on engagement. This helps in personal recording keeping. This helps in personal record keeping for following up report or defending positions in assembly debate. Now, for committee members, in committee hearing, like finance committee reviewing budget allocations, members can auto record sessions to document witness testimonies or expert input. For instance, during an oversight visit to a state project, committee members could use the mobile app to record on-site discussion, preserving evidence of irregularities for later investigations or report to the full assembly. Now, for the entire assembly, during the plenary session or full house debate on bills, the recording feature can capture entire proceeding for official archives. For example, an example is recording a debate on the 2026 state budget, providing a verifiable audio/video record that ensures transparency and can be referenced in case of dispute over spoken commitment, aiding in compliance with public accountability standard. Now let's go to the transcription itself, because like we said, it takes, it does the transcription. In this session now, we have a live note that is, which you can see. I'm just going to the live note. So you see that as we speak, this live note is going on. This live note is going on. Let me, while that is going on, let me, the transcription feature provide real-time or post-meeting text conversion of spoken words with speaker identification, timestamp, and high accuracy. It handles multiple languages and accents, making it suitable for diverse settings. Okay, I think that, let me see. Yeah. For setting. For individual member, how can the transcription help individual member? A member can transcribe personal interviews or phone calls with constituents, such as a discussion on youth unemployment. For example, Honorable Nalon Daniel could transcribe a meeting with local entrepreneurs using the text to quick search for specific promises made, which can then inform his speeches or motions in the assembly. Now, for committee members, the transcription In specialized committees like the one on education, members can get instant transcription of expert panels or public hearing. An example, during a session on school funding, the transcript identify who said what, helping members cross-reference statements during report drafting, reducing errors in committee recommendations to the House. Now, for the entire assembly, the transcript, the full assembly session, such as passing resolutions on security issues, can be transcribed for official Hansard record. For example,
sorry, Isaac, I'm sorry to butt in here. Are you able to show us, whether in this meeting or previous meeting, how the entire transcript is chapterized? That means
yes,
broken down into
chapters.
Show that it's not just, it has embedded capacity for almost acting as a full secretary.
Yes. Okay, let me show some past meeting here. Okay. All right. See, this is a dashboard. What I'm seeing here is a dashboard consisting of various meetings that have been held in the past. So I will just go to a particular meeting and then try to pick that meeting, and then we can look at it. Like for instance, like
and why you are doing.
Okay, this was a planning meeting for STEM for Peace program in Northern Nigeria. STEM for Peace. It was a planning. I'm opening that meeting for you to see. So this was a planning meeting. Yeah, it's a planning meeting we had. So it provided on the right side of the screen, you see the full transcript, identify who said what during that meeting. And I can see, this was, I think, a 1 hour meeting. So we have the full transcript of what each person said on the right side of the screen. Then in the middle side of the screen, you now have the summary. The summary of what was said with the key points. You can see the summary. And then with the notes, and then it also includes action items for each person. Pilot project, it's a pilot project we were planning. And then these are the action items for each person, each of the attendees. And then these are podcasts. And then it also produced like a chapter, assuming we wanted to publish a book or publication about that meeting, what was discussed. We applied what we call the Book Chapter Organizer app, which now produces chapterized information about that meeting. Like chapter 1, no matter the order in which we spoke, the AI itself rearranged the entire session into chapters, and automatically assign the chapter headings. Like chapter 1 was the promise and peril of technology in society. You can see all the content here and the key point on that. Then chapter 2 is defining peace in the age of technology. And it gives all the key point that each of these can be expanded. Chapter 3, social development and tech ecosystem. It gives all the information. I'm not going to go through chapter by chapter, but you can see that up to chapter 8, East Africa, Uganda context, it deal with that defining and implementation initiative. So it provides that communication and narrative. Then chapter 12, the road ahead, vision, challenges, and opportunities. Then even gave appendix for the chapters. And each of them can be expanded. And depending on how you want it.
Okay, finally, they don't have any question for you. I was going to ask, How can we translate this now to Hausa in text if we wanted to?
If we want
Are you able
if we want the summary, this summary is very summary. We can ask. We can use a tool called AskFred to translate the summary into Hausa. We can do that. I mean, we go here and click here, AskFred, and then we just come here and type, please translate. Please translate the summary into Hausa language. Okay, so we submit it. Translate the summary into Hausa language. So we submit it.
Wow.
And this is Hausa. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so you can see, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that
Yeah. So this is in Hausa language. Yeah.
is very okay. Isaac, thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
Sorry to trouble you. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. So I should stop sharing?
Yeah, you can stop sharing now.
Okay.
I'll give you some feedback later. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Just before we go, I want us to do one thing because he didn't have time to share this. I'll show you what we did here in London when Queen Elizabeth was still the head of government and she came to Parliament to give what is called the grand opening of Parliament. The entire thing was transcribed live and made available live, and the debate was done live. So Fireflies is not new to this.
I think this is a wonderful exercise and illustration. But the problem we have, like, let me give example in my hand. When we are saying this, I was thinking about it has this system, when you talk, it answers you, it gives you what is that. But the problem we're going to have in contact with is, let's say we're having a meeting and people start speaking, like, I will record so that we translate, or give more than one to give. And the other day, we're not able to work because of our intonation. And the system wants to talk the way that a woman talks.
Let me ask you before it goes, because we've got experience with that accent. You know, in the UK we have Scottish accents, we have the Welsh accents, and then we have the English accent. Right? Accent is a commonality in all languages. So the people that speak Hausa from Maiduguri speak differently from those from Kano.
Yes.
And from Kafashar.
And the other reason sometimes our own too.
Well, because Isaac. So let me see. Can you confirm that accent will not distract from the accuracy of the transcription? Hello?
Yes, what did you say?
The accent of the speaker in the meeting, we have about 7 or 8 speakers, and each speaker has a different accent. How are we sure that the accent of the individual speaker will not interfere with the rate of accuracy?
Yes, you know, this product, the good news is that Fireflies was actually designed. There are a lot of Nigerian input, Nigerian engineers, Nigerian programmers that were involved in it. So as far as accent is concerned, it's very, 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 very attentive. It's really able to detect Nigerian accents. You know, in fact, I actually set it up on auto detect. It's very, very good. In fact, even including the Pidgin English. That is what we did not say. I mean, most Nigerians know how to speak Pidgin English. Firefly also know Pidgin English. In fact, if can actually speak to us in Pidgin English right here. So accent the detection is very, 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 very good, very highly accurate. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
So I just wanted to also say that the program learns all the time. So what you see, the version you see today, you find out that it's better than the one you're going to see tomorrow is going to be better than today. Sorry,
Yeah.
1 minute, one more minute, and then we are gone. So as a last thing for all of us in the room, I'm sharing with you there was a book I did on Princess Diana. This is long before ChatGPT. I just want to show, and the Queen Elizabeth II. I'll quickly show this now. It's on Amazon. So this is not something like this private. Look at this book. Everybody look at this book. It's a bestseller. The entire book. Was by AI software. And I will put it in front of you. Can you see this? 100% of this was by AI. So although my name appears as the author, what I really did was project manage and edit the book. I did not type one word of it. And because it was so successful, King Charles, when he was then the Prince of Wales, then commissioned a follow-up. Let me just pull that up. And again, this is available on Amazon. So it's not private. We're not having a private discussion. It's public record that any writing that takes place today has to, the first draft, at least the first draft. It's not the final draft. The first draft has to be at least generated by an agent, agentic AI, not necessarily the LLMs you have that's commercially available. So this is the Queen Elizabeth one that King Charles was keen on, and it's still available here. Can you see? As part of Temple Jubilee, that was released as part of all of us here, if you send him an email, I'll make sure that we get Kindle version. So thank you very much for your audience and thanks for attention.
Prof. Yeah, smart kids.
No, everybody's smart. Everybody's smart. No, truth, everybody's smart. Because we've done it with other non-biological children of mine. We repeated the same tools and we got exactly the same result. 5-year-old from Peckham has already passed Cambridge Foundation of Advanced Mathematics. So it's the tools we're using. It's the tools. You gamify it. Oh, please. I can take a bet. I can take a bet on you. By the time he's 6, we'll have passed his GCS. This is a public.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll click on that.
We do that night. And Prof, and both of you are Prof. I don't know who's teaching each other here now. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Professor Chris Mafedon. Please, you can keep his name on your notes and make references to all the areas he has mentioned. Look through them also, and once in a while, go on your phone, check. You can always check on him what he's developing, what he's coming up, what he's coming up with, and his new ideas. And equally signpost your children, if you have anyone, to his online programs that is running, and make sure they capture and go along with his program. You can also sponsor a kid from your constituency to be on his online educational program, where they can also become smart children. You don't know tomorrow. Maybe 10 years old and he becomes the youngest graduate from one of the universities and he goes to Guinness Book of World Record. So, but when you go there, remember me, don't remember Prof. As I brought you to know Prof. Set of what he gets to me. Thank you. So let's welcome our special guest. He's our special guest. It's not easy to pull an MP out. And I hope all of you know that. Even in your constituency, for somebody to call you to come and do naming ceremony, the person must know you to your bedroom. You know what I mean, bro?
Yeah.
So for you to bring an MP out to come and address just a few members of another parliamentarians, it's not easy. Not easy here in the UK, but we are honored to have one who is very, very open and very accommodating to African issues and the Middle East issues and the ethnic minority issues. And whenever you call in to address, support, to be part of what we're doing between the ethnic minority community here in the United Kingdom, we make us time, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, to travel around the region to be with us. So he will share some couple of ideas with you. He's listened to a bit of what Prof has presented. I'm sure he has 1 or 2 things he can add to what Prof has said here about how to run a legislative house. And so we can get 1 or 2 things with him. And after that, we will do the certificate presentation ceremony, which he and Prof and our other resource persons will be part of that presentation. And then we can have group photographs, and then we can have coffee, and then we network together, chat together, and then we can call it a beautiful day, a good day, and we look forward to tomorrow. So ladies and gentlemen, honorable members, I want to bring to the podium very good friend, member of Parliament of the Federal Republic, Holy Dura, MP.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Johnson. Thank you, professors. And it's good to speak to you all today. My name is Oliver Ryan. I represent the constituency of Burnley, which is in Lancashire. Anyone follow the Premier League this season? Yes. We're in the Premier League this season. We weren't last season, but we're in the Premier League this season. Might not be next season, but we'll give it a go. I've come to speak to you a little bit today. I guess just to talk about the role of Parliament, the roles that exist within Parliament, why we have those roles, how we've got to this place. I often find this thing works better if instead of me just kind of talking at you, if you could kind of come back with some ideas and some thoughts afterwards as well. I'd like to hear a little bit more about how your systems work and how we can learn from each other through this. Because I don't stand here as somebody with like all the answers in a perfect system. The UK Parliament, as you'll probably know from history and other things, like a lot of democracies in the world, was born out of some semblance of autocracy at one stage. So monarchy, going right the way back to Magna Carta, and the barons sort of redrawing what was political power bases within the country, right the way up to then Robert boroughs, members of Parliament, the first Parliament being established, the king at one stage losing his head, and we're becoming a republic for a brief period of time, to then the new Parliament, the Representation of the People's Act, the People's Budget in 1910, 11, 15, and how Parliament has evolved from essentially what was a lot of people that were either just landed gentry or royalty by divine right of God to be representatives of people from communities that we serve. So part of the reason that says that takes an interest in sort of like ethnic minority matters is because like 3 generations ago, I'm an Irish immigrant. My family is all Irish immigration basically that came to the UK to find work and to try and find a life here and build a life for your kids and grandkids. And people often do that now and today. But unfortunately, it's a bit of a difficult climate in politics at the minute, and a bit of a rise of racism, which I think is something we all want to fight, which is why it's important to me. So Parliament now exists in 650 MPs that represent constituencies of about 90,000 people across the UK. It's relatively small. Some of the constituencies that you all have in here will be much bigger. But much bigger than I represent. But I'm one person that's in the first past the post system. You might get 5, 6, 7 people contesting that election. You have only a small amount of money that you're able to spend to contest that election. So it's about £20,000 is your budget that we could campaign and spend on. And a lot of monarchy, a lot of putting yourself out there. My constituency one was previously Labour, 1 years. then it was Liberal Democrat, and then it was Labour again, and then it was Tory, and now it's Labour again, and it switches. Hopefully it stays Labour. But we can always try your best to be close. But it's a real great fight when you actually vote in these things, because actually there's not that many voters. Whereas you're dealing with quite big constituencies. If you look at things like the London Assembly, still deal with what many people easily, you know, half a million people in cases. That's very different from that which you deal with here. The interesting thing about the UK Parliament, I guess, not only is the history, it's coming to be, we call it the Mother of Parliaments, because it kind of went on to create all these other parliamentary democracies around the world, and it's a bit of a path. But what it does, really central, is it asserts the primacy of the House of Commons, which is the house that I sit in. So as much as we have the House of Lords, who were all kind of dukes and kings, and the Prince of Wales sat in there at one point, they're all barons and nobles that still sit there and earn when the King and Queen comes on in Parliament. The primacy of who creates finance bills, who can pass legislation, who can push stuff through the House when they want to do it, who's elected and who has democratic legitimacy, it's the House of Commons. So you often find that when you go around Parliament, as people have done is, there's a lot more decadence on the House of Lords side, with a lot of gold and a lot of jewellery and a lot of like nice carpets and a lot of flash. The Commons isn't like that. The Commons is very similar to this. It's wood walls. It was built in austerity after the Second World War. But it is fundamentally people that come from their constituencies to come there to make law and make stuff happen. And they can do that because they're there. Inside that house, then, we have the government, which I'm a member of. We have the opposition, which sits on the other side of the benches, or the House of Commons yourselves, and the Speaker that sits at the end. The Speaker is probably the oldest role in Parliament, and I think there's been something like 157 consecutive speakers of the UK Parliament, and they each serve something like, you know, it could be 2 years, 5 years, 6, 7 years. But it's a very old standing role. And if you go around into the House of Commons library, they still have all of the. Well, that's a bit disconcerting, isn't it?
Sorry, let me go for
You're right.
let me go to the official.
From
Which one?
7 speakers ago, listed in gold on the names that go around the library. And in essence, the speaker is sort of living embodiment of Parliament, what it means to be.
Working for you. I think this is working for you.
Interestingly, the king, who's our head of state, we all swear allegiance to, and the isn't allowed in the House of Commons chamber. If you go anywhere else in the UK, we're not allowed in the House of Commons chamber. That's people's chamber. In the same way, when we do things like pass legislation, and this goes back to the people's budget, and I think in 1911, if something is pushed by convention, by the Commons, it has to be passed through the laws, which is why it's a revisionary chamber. So there's a massive history, but in essence, when I learned politics, kind of at school and college, really, there's something about, I used to call it dictatorship, because in essence, if you control the House of Commons, you control UK politics with your thinking. This was on the old model, where if you basically existed in parliamentary politics, that was your governance of life, right? These days, and it probably touches a little bit more on what the professor said before, about AI, about social media, about the sort of populist nature of politics. In fact, we've all been through like the second industrial revolution, to be honest. It's in our homes. We're all learning how to adapt to these things. That's changed the nature of politics completely. So you might be a government in the House of Commons, you might have an absolute majority, we have. But fundamentally, the politics of the UK, the weather that's being made outside, is not always being made in the House of Commons chamber. It's being made online, it's being made in the media, it's being made in constituencies in the same way. And I think the challenge for modern politics is how to take the law and to understand it and interpret it and put it in a parliamentary democratic fashion through things like the Speaker and the House and the committees and the members and the day-to-day work of what we do. Ultimately, it's to make all of that weather in the politics that exists outside the building in the UK, a country with 17 million people. How we create and harness that to build a country that people want to live in, people feel like people like content. And that's the struggle. I think that's a struggle for every modern democracy these days. And it's a struggle that we'll probably continue to live with in the next 20, 30 years until we get a bit more comfortable with this. Is there any particular area of Parliament we want to touch on in terms of the UK Parliament? Or is there any questions? Don't worry, I can keep talking if you want.
We want to understand how you operate at your committee level.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, 650 entities, you'll have majority of them include the government, and the first time member. You'll have a series of committees, formal committees that are made up of select committees, which are specific to areas. So you might have a foreign affairs committee, you might have a treasury committee, you might have an environment committee, you might have a summer committee. They're all sort of, they are solely based in Parliament, and they are by and large advisory. So unlike some committees like the US, where they hold kind of big legislative functions, all of that in the UK is held by the executive, which is also Parliament. So a traditional system tells you that you have an executive, you have a legislature, and you have a court system. And a lot of modern democracies are built on that. The UK is not that. The UK is basically the legislature, which also includes the executive, and which used to, until 2006, include the courts. We only have a Supreme Court for the last 20 years. The Supreme Court used to be in the House of Lords. So it all used to be in the same place in the UK. It's only slightly separated in the last 20 years or so. But in essence, when you are now in Parliament and in politics, you might sit on one of these committees, but the decision maker is the minister, is the executive. And they're MPs such as I'm you can go and see them in the division lobbies, they're there kind of walking about. They'll go back at weekends. I mean, the guy that he's really good, the minister, is a friend of mine, James Falcon, he's minister for the Middle East and North Africa. And he will go into meetings as the minister, fly around the world as the minister for this part of the world, representing the UK. And then he's back in Lincoln at the weekend doing a photo run to raise money for charity. Like, this is the stuff that you have to do. It's a slightly mad system in the UK. Where everybody's doing that. I mean, I kind of love it. It makes it very real, because everybody's kind of so accessible. But it's a slightly better system. So we have standing select committees where members from parties will go, and it sort of works on a rota basis. So if, for example, Labour is in government, then the chair of the Public Accounts Committee will be an opposition member. So that's the person who's scrutinising. If you have 7 or 8 other committees, say on environment, affairs, economy, local government, housing, whatever, those will be done by the division of the House. So there'll be some agreement between the whips, who are the people that basically keep us all voting the same way. When we go down there, we get a whip. And there are also people who negotiate on behalf of the party position with other parties. And they'll sit down and they'll say, right, well, we've got a government, so we'll do this and we'll give you that money. And you'll have 3 and I'll have 9. Or perhaps if it's a tighter system and you've only got a majority of, 10, you might say, well, you got 5 and I'll have 5. Or whatever. Break it up so there's a kind of even Stephen goal line. And of that, you'll have chairs of those committees that will all then come together to question the Prime Minister as part of the liaison committee, which is a bit more substantial. So the liaison committee will sit as all of the chairs of all of the committees, and they will directly question and interrogate the Prime Minister for several hours. And that happens sort of quarterly. And that can be quite a big thing. It's all over the press when it happens. There's always something that comes out. There's always a discussion. But it's a good opportunity, as well as things like Prime Minister's questions that we have every week, where the Prime Minister stands and takes 6 questions from the Leader of the Opposition and has to come back. And you're in that kind of dare pit, like the House of Commons, which is really loud and a bit sweaty and a bit like, you're in the pit every week. But it is on committee the chance for you to really question the Prime Minister in detail. And that's quite a big committee. But by and large, backbenchers will sit on those committees. They will contribute to areas of work. They will contribute to reviews of different policy spaces, and they'll make recommendations to a department or a minister, but they won't formally make a decision for a department or a minister, unlike things like the US, where the system's a lot more policy. I'm not sure what the existing like is. So I'm saying, yeah.
The implementation is not like sweet the way you are. But we still want to understand, in your lawmaking, you want to make a law. Is it you do it without public hearing?
How do you mean public hearing?
Okay, like ours, our lawmaking, like section 100 of the Nigerian Constitution, the first stage, the first reading, there is a second reading, then it will be committed to a committee. The committee will now invite the public selected experts.
Stakeholders. So we don't do that. So we do first reading, we do like actually, you like the green paper, which is like someone's idea.
Yes.
You'll just create it.
Yes.
You'll have, if that's amenable to people, you'll have a white paper, which is like a slightly more attractive version. So you'll have first, I have a current dynamic bill going through at the moment. We have a ballot system. So we have like a lottery that you all apply for, it's literally pick out of the bowl. And if you're picked out, you get the chance to put a bill through, just out of luck. And that's how some of the big changes in the UK have happened over the years. So unlike big issues, like in the 1960s, there was case of, abortion, for example. That was a private industry. Because neither the government nor the opposition wanted to introduce it. But if you're one of them, and you want to introduce it, and you happen to get picked out of the hat, and you want to talk about it, you put it to a vote. And that's what happened, and that's why we now have a law cap on sort of like abortion. It's a slightly milder system, but yeah, so we don't go out to sort of public streets and whatever. Although, if you were a bill committee, so I'm the policy for the finance bill, which will show on now on the cap budget. It will go through the kind of detail of some of the budget proposals, although it's party weighted. So because we're in government, we have more members than they have. Yeah. So ultimately, it's gonna, provided nobody disagrees with it, it's probably gonna get through. Even if there are members of that.
Okay, so who is in charge of submitting the budget?
So that's the Chancellor of the Exchequer. So a bit like
Your finance.
UK.
So
So you have, in essence, the UK elected protection. The King sort of sits over here and isn't really involved in the politics. And then, in essence, the politics is the Prime Minister, his cabinet. You'll have ministers of state, and then below that you'll have sort of junior ministers, and then you have backbenchers, which is quite a lot of us, and they will sit on various committees and advising committees. But you can, if you have a committee, you can invite the public or particular experts to come with evidence, but you don't have to do that.
Okay. So long as you don't organize public hearing, do you ask the public by way of an announcement? So it may must be that particular matter?
No, I mean, we don't do that. The amendments can be submitted by members and MPs, but amendments are not submitted by the public.
So we usually trust members of the parliament to make a decision that knows it's pertinent to the public. So if they know that abortion is a big issue in our country. But say for example, if you trust the MPs are going to go and talk about it, that's going to go to the next.
It's the nature of like,
Yeah, well, I think immigration is a big thing.
immigration. It's the nature of things like the manifesto system. So we have a manifesto system. When you stand in election, you stand on a manifesto.
Okay,
Yeah, that's like a legal document. Yeah, that says what you.
So they already have a mandate.
Yeah.
So you mean in decision making, voting, that something is going in the house, and you have a time frame for you to think about that come back. You don't go back to your constituents and get to understand that whether they are in tune or not.
No,
You just vote on the video. I'm okay with that.
You're elected 105 years. If you're elected as the government for that 5 years, you are the government for that 5 years and you pass your bills. You might want to do a consultation, but the process that we set out in our kind of unwritten constitution, that's also something. You could do these things, but you don't have to do these things. It's not like Nigeria where there is a written constitution. It's all written in the UK. It's also based on history. That you can go through the legal. So for example, we had a day last year. We had a day last year with British Steel, which is a big kind of steel plant in Tyneside. Basically said it was going bust. British Steel going bust. And if you let British Steel go bust, all this steel freezes inside the pipe road in the steel plant. Right? It's a long story to it, but that's basically. And unless the government bought the steelworks and nationalised British Steel that day, you have to shut it down. Because you can't physically restart the process for melting the steel and everything. So within a day, we got recall to Parliament. We had a green paper with a white paper, with first reading, second reading, committee hearing, over the laws, first reading laws, second reading laws, committee reading laws, back to order, signed by the King that night, and nationalising the text. Because if you need to, there's agreement to do it, you can do it.
Yes.
However, the stuff like big contentious pieces of legislation, like it always has to do with justice and crime bills, you might run that for 6 months. We have something called the leader of the house, which is a party role, or is a government role, held by an MP, not the speaker, who represents the government, and who basically sets the agenda for what's going to go through. So we have something like 35 different bills going through Parliament currently. and the leader of the house decides when to do it. So if, for example, and the leader of the house doesn't like it, or the government's not keen, then we'll deal with it right at the back. We'll deal with it next year. Then it gets kicked away. So there's lots of like, it's a very simple system. But it's parliamentary politics, it's representative politics. Yeah. And we're not there, we don't live in this world where everything's all over online. They elect me to go and make those decisions for them, so they can get on with their lives. Because they trust me with the government.
Yeah,
I like to think.
If I want to say that, I'll make sure that I change the US system has been Sometimes you see the beat.
Every week, all day. So on a, you know what, I'm gonna come to this. It's on a, so I will obviously have Sunday, and then we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in Parliament. Friday, sometimes, if we need it, but not always. So Friday, usually we'll go back to the constituency and you'll kind of see businesses. Monday, votes till 10 o'clock at night, so you can vote all night. Tuesday night, we'll vote till about 8 o'clock. Could go later. House of Lords sometimes votes at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And they're all very old. But it's not great. But for hours, you'll normally finish voting. Wednesday will be about 7, 8 o'clock again, the same thing. Thursday can be quieter. Because Wednesday is a big day. Really, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, big heavy parliamentary days. There's always stuff where there'll be events today now. On like digital ID and tech, there's been that before. It's a big issue. But that's every week. And then we basically marry up for the school holidays. So if like schools are half term at Easter, a week, we have a week off Easter break for the half of the schools. We'll also have a break in half. Yes. We don't get any more time than that. It's all year every year for 5 years. Christmas, we got 2 weeks off. But we stopped just before Christmas. We got Christmas week, the week after when we were back.
What's
And take home, what do you need for salary? Yes. It's currently at £90,000. It's not like I keep saying 96. It's now, it's about 92, but it's not that.
Yeah, but no. That's why I know.
I think not per week.
No.
For 45% of the salary, after 12,500, will go to tax.
Well, that's exactly what.
You understand?
Yes.
And they cannot find a way like I.
Yeah.
We also do this.
Because we're kind of bolt on nature of politics in the UK. You'll sometimes get people that will be there for years. So you'll get people that will be in Parliament for 30 or 40 years. Because their seat is like very safe.
So they're okay, they don't mind this. That's fine.
They'll say, great.
Yeah.
My house in London, they're like, whereas people like me, my seat is flip-flop.
Yeah.
Then it's been Tory and Labour.
True.
I never get my I never get my to do it. So you almost like don't do it for the money. Because the whole thing is just a risk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I did it wrong. I'm 30. You know, I got my degree, I'm a postgrad. I could have gone and my career like consultant. I could have stayed there and worked away. And it's something that you got. Well, if you care about politics, you kind of got it in your blood. Yeah. Which I suppose we all have. It's in your blood and you care. And you want to do it. You want to be in the room where it's time. That's why we do it.
So how do you sustain your family comfortably?
So, I basically live on charity. It's either a small farm. So you live here in the it'll be like a small farm in the States.
Since the member of the parliament, this we are against in Africa, we are against the changing of the name of the Church of England. This is what I'm asking. Changing the name of Church of England.
Oh, yeah, changing that as needed.
So we are against it. This has Church of England.
I should say that I'm Catholic.
Changing the name of Church of England.
We're trying to donate from.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
That's from the king.
Although we do have in the House of Lords, as a bit of an historic word, bishops. We do have about 35 bishops. So you will all turn up in the House of Lords. They don't have seniority, and they'll wear like long white robes, and they'll take part in debates that everybody else does. Nobody else gets that.
Calling the name of the king, like you said, I always tend to wonder what is the distinct role of the king and the prime minister?
The king serves as the president, right?
Well, the king is apolitical. So doesn't give you anything. The king is head of state, figurehead.
Yes.
The king signs off.
Just like the president.
So it's, yeah, I don't know, probably it sounds like a different thing, but we don't let the king obviously thereby find right and go by power. But in essence, they sign acts when they become law. And the king has not refused to sign an act since.
Yeah, makes sense, but since he's not been elected, I don't know the mode of his election to office, so also his house, that's why I tend to, I'm asking the distinct how they play their role, I know that is different.
So the
So
role,
I think I wonder how they run through that problem.
the role they play is basically one of the, they're figureheads. They are the kind of stability in the nation.
Yes.
They don't play a political role in managing the parliament, they don't do politics, they don't give a view. Queen Elizabeth II was a great monarch, but she never gave an opinion on anything, really. And that's because she wasn't a figure. Because once you have an opinion, then you are kind of political. Also, interesting fact about the monarchy, none of them are allowed to even vote. They're not given the vote because there's sort of yeah, and because really the power has come from, the power of parliament has come from the monarchy somewhere along the line. So when you are made a Secretary of State in that head, you're presented with a large box with a wax seal with the King's insignia on. And when you go and create bills or you sign documents or you sign letters, you're doing it on behalf of the King. This is His Majesty's government. But His Majesty doesn't play a role when it happens. The only role he does have is opening the state-owned parliament every year, which the King does, but can't step into the House of Commons. So we all have to go to the House of Lords and sign legislation when they become acts of parliament. But a king or a queen has not refused to do that since the 1600s. Because if they did, it'd be a constitutional.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's this whole unwritten constitution thing. It's all slightly up in the air. Because it's all based on history and tradition. Whereas, as I before, you have a written constitution that says who does what and what kind of voters. It changes them. Sometimes you have prime ministers that are more presidential. Tony Blair, presidential prime minister. Yeah. Sometimes you have prime ministers that are a bit more technocratic. And you can claim that our current prime minister is probably that. You have different tones of politics and different roles. It all sort of meshes and moves together. Does that make sense? Well, exactly. It's math. Yeah.
I always wondered why during the opinion, you see some members either nodding, getting up and sitting.
Yeah, that's a good
You know,
one.
very
Very good one. So I've got the role of speaking before. The speaker, it's basically the Speaker's Parliament. It is a royal palace technically. Speaker is the embodiment of the members of Parliament. They're chosen as a member of Parliament. So the Speaker we've got he's currently MP for Chorley at the same time. So he's still MP like everybody else. And when the Speaker chooses people to make contributions to the debate, there's no real rule around who gets picked. So quite often, when you want to get picked in a debate, you can't clap. You're not allowed to clap. We don't do that. You use your voice, so you'll see a lot of cheering and shouting and wave papers. But if you want to speak, you have to stand up. So they go out the questions, also the questions to the Prime Minister, and you get 5 or 6 people who will stand up and they'll go, yeah, you. And then they'll sit down again and then they'll do question 2, they'll do it again. And so you can honestly, if you're ever in a debate, so we can have like a 6-hour debate, for example, in a day. You could spend like 6 hours just bobbing up and down. I've been there. It's a good workout. Like it's, but it's really.
So now, how do you generate?
I got a question for President.
Yes, how do you generate the budget? Is the Minister of Finance in charge of generating the budget as of today?
Yes, in essence. So because the majority, the Prime Minister is only the Prime Minister because he has a majority in the House of Commons. When he's the Prime Minister, he appoints a Chancellor of the Exchequer, a Finance Minister. She issues the minute will go ahead, draw the budget, make the budget, come and present the budget. She comes in the House of Commons and she says, I've looked at this and this is what I'm doing. And all the MPs on the government side voted for that. Interestingly, a bit of a fact here, the only time you're allowed to drink alcohol in the House of Commons chamber is if you are the Chancellor delivering it. So the last, this is true, the last Chancellor to do this.
But you have bars.
Yeah,
So you're drinking all the time.
The last Chancellor, William Gladstone, back in 1800,
They got a vote.
at one point drank 2 bottles of champagne while delivering his budget. William Gladstone, William in the 1800s, way back. The last Chancellor to drink alcohol was a guy called Ken Clark in the 90s, who was making a big thing about the Scotch whisky trade. So he would help the Scotch whisky trade, and he stood there with like a large glass of neat Scotch, like making himself Scotch while he was delivering. This is like a 2-hour speech. You've got to be kind of fortified to do it. So once you've done the speech, then it's debated. We have 5 days of debate on that budget speech where we'll stand and we'll do it. So I spoke on day 2 of the budget this year, and you go and you do. You say what you like, what you don't like, think about it. There's always party politics involved. I'm not going to stand up and say well. But equally, you want to tease bits out of it for your own area.
Like in the US Senate, when the executive submit the budgets to the Senate, it's a decision of the Senate whether to keep aside the budget and to raise the amount, or they use that one executive.
No, it's all the executive, it's all the government. So it's very different. So when you are an MP and the Chancellor of the Exchequer and the person presenting the budget, you are also the tax collector. You're also the person that tells you how much cash you've got. Like the whole thing is the executive and the legislature are the same thing.
So the system is totally different because, okay, like in my own constituency, maybe I might have a problem with laws. So how the minister, I mean, got to know my problem in my
That's a good one. So perhaps during that budget debate, you might stand up and say, I have a particular problem in my constituency with growth, education, business investment. I want to see this, I want to see this. And I can stand up on the budget and I can say, this debate is pretty very good, or I'd like to see more investment in X, Y, Z. Or perhaps I'll go and ask the minister for a meeting. What's quite nice about Parliament is because we're all MPs and ministers all have to vote. So when I vote tonight, they'll all vote with me. The Prime Minister will also be there. We'll be in a small room like this outside the chamber, and we all have to walk from there to vote. So you'll all mill through the lobbies together. And what's quite nice is if I want to push an issue, like for example, roads in my area, I can walk up to the Chancellor and say, can I meet with you about roads in my area? And also she'll say, yeah, you can. Like, it's not a.
So, but that's what I said, it's quite different than the US, because the US, yes, if you submit the budget, I will decide, like in Nigeria, I will decide, okay, after submitting the budget, open the budget, scrutinize the budget, I don't have my own consistency inside also. That's my own consistency.
Unlike the US, which is kind of known for its kind of poor power politics, where because you can't rely on the majority vote as much, so you might be a Democrat, but you might not want to vote for the Democrat budget. You might be a Republican. But
Yes, of course.
Whereas if you're in the UK, if you've been elected on a manifesto that's a Labour manifesto, you have to vote for the Labour budget. If you don't vote for the budget, you lose the rate. Like that's kind of how serious it can be. Like there's no option to rebel. You might have one instance in your career.
So you guys train us in Nigeria because we're doing the same thing.
You might have one or two instances in your career. Like, this is a real serious moral issue. That's the issue that you rebel on because you're willing to kind of put your career to it. Well, you can't do it every week. You pick your issue, and if it's the budget, you are there and then. So it's a little bit because you don't have that element of like, I'm going to buy my vote for my issues. You know what I mean? You're always trying to persuade rather than exchange. Any more questions?
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know massive about like politics and books. I've got to learn the same way. But any of you fancy keeping in touch, give us a shout. Exchange emails.
Yeah.
If you find yourself in the UK and say, well, come in,
We have to do it. We'll get
I'll
that.
give you, when we go on, I'll get my card out.
That's all right.
Thank you.
It's asking, do you have any other questions?
No, we are not putting that on.
We're not. For the session, the general question for the session.
Yeah.
You don't have any, right?
Yeah.
We'll see. We're getting certificates.
Okay.
Across, so then we can.
That's,
Officially handed.
So that's it, that's how many hours. That's how many hours. Yeah, I do some, I do some. Ah, no, no more. Thank you. By the way, if anybody wants, that's my email address.
It was on the internet. Let me pull up his telephone on the internet. Okay.
Oliver Ryan, Doc Ryan. And I get.
I had one that had your number and I had your email. Yeah. Okay. I thought we already linked. I can even check now. So myself and Azu, we are linked. Let me see. Oh. Did you take a picture with me here?
I can take one.
Azu asked me to wait. He said I should bring it. Let me just
Yeah, it gives authenticity.